Hello. I'm wearing one of my detailing hats because tonight is more about detailing. That's kind of the deal here. That's how I've been trying to balance it out. Is I do some things for me, some things for you, and some stuff that's really not for either of us, but we'll both kind of have fun, figure it out. It's cool, you know. It's all one big experiment. That's part of the fun of live streaming. You don't really know what's gonna happen. Even I don't know what's gonna happen. You're just as much a part of this as I am. Anyway, not to get too existential right off the bat, but hi there. How's it going? I'm Dane. I'm doing good. How are you? Okay, got that part in. Dan says the mic is good. Glad to hear that. Diet disappointment on toast. Sounds like my ex. Damn. That is a way to start, man. The lyrics, some of these royalty free songs, they really just know how to cut deep, don't they? Anyway, moving along here, we got Alex here too, saying the ad break at the beginning scared the crap out of him. It's all good, man. Yeah, so like Twitch, now that I reached that like affiliate level or whatever, I'm not like full on partner, but I'm in the in between stage where, yeah, they throw ads on my stuff if you're not subscribed. So just warning you ahead of time, if you don't like seeing ads and stuff, if you subscribe, it's my understanding that when the ad breaks kick in, you're not stuck with that. Just a heads up. Otherwise, if you have like Amazon Prime or something, they have like the Prime gaming deal. You can just hit that free Prime sub. They give you a freebie every month to just use on whatever streamer you like. And hey, maybe that's me, or maybe you're here and you watch other stuff and it's not me. That's okay too. Just giving a heads up. If you have Amazon Prime, you may not realize it, but you actually have a Prime sub that you can give away for free, which is very nice. 2 months down, it's many more to go. Aw, Dan, that's so nice. Thank you. Very kind, very kind. Well, any rate, that gives you a sense of how you can manage that if the ads freak you out or something. Otherwise, I'll try to give you a heads up before I have to hit the mandated ad button like once every hour or so. But yeah, just give fair warning and stuff before I click that. If you're subscribed, you won't see those. Anyway, moving along here, I'm gonna go ahead and kill the music. Bam. Okay, so that will be coming back later at the end of the show. But in the meantime, I did promise a certain Ethan Bland that I would be running his video that he suggested to me yesterday during my stream that was not quite so detailing related. He suggested a detailing related video to me because, hey, he kind of came here for the detailing, and I thought, you know what? I haven't done one of those in a while. We should get back on that. So, yesterday was more of a car centric episode. So, if you want to talk cars or check that out, yesterday I did a lot of fun stuff with the barn find hunter and that kind of thing. I may still get to that later on tonight, but we're going to start with some detailing. So, if Ethan is here, please raise your hand. And if you're not here, well, maybe I should wait for you because you wanted to watch that video. Oh yeah, mandated ad button, kind of dystopic. Yeah, no, I feel you. It's basically the way that you're able to fit into the affiliate bracket. You're like, you have to use it once in a while, or else they're like, you're not holding up your end of the deal of being an affiliate or whatever. So it's like a little here, little there. Not going crazy with it. I don't want to annoy people, but there's a balance to these things. Anyway, if Ethan is not here, I'm gonna go ahead and wait until Ethan does show up. But if everybody could, say, "Hey, Ethan, you want to watch a video? I'm gonna watch that video." We'll wait till he shows up. You make yourself known when you get here, Ethan. Listening to this sometime in the future. Anyway, I've said that enough times. Let's go ahead and take a look at. Well, this is that thing I do. I always do this. I end up watching a donut video when I barely watch donut anymore, but it's one of those things where they do have these fun little like try out products videos that don't suck. Yeah. Hey Ethan, want to watch a video? Yeah, thank you, Dad. I'm gonna kick it over to my react view here. It's very chaotic the way I'm presenting this. Oh look, it's choose. Um yeah, so I figured we'd start things off with a detailing adjacent thing. Oh, there's Ethan right there. Okay. I think I burned enough time that it gave him a chance to get here. So that's good. I'll go back to starting with this video then because that's the one he sent me yesterday. I just hadn't watched yet. Man, Dan, you're really good at that. We should use you more often for like getting attention to people. That's great. Yes. So, hello. Yeah, no, Ethan, don't feel bad. I was basically telling him I wanted to start the day off with the video you suggested yesterday, but I was looking at the comments and I was like, there's no Ethan in here. Ethan's not here. I don't want to watch it without Ethan. So, just making sure you're present before we watch. That's all it was. So, no sweat. You're here now. That's all that matters. Now we can go ahead and start this video off. And it's just under 20 minutes long. Let's see what happens in it. Big boy tow truck. That thing has seen some shit.
This one's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think Stars and Stripes gonna save a lot of time on this, man.
You guys normally do this by brush? By brush, by hand.
How long does that normally take?
Good wash, 3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. I think we can do this in like a half hour.
Half hour.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine like getting in all this stuff with a hand.
Alex, Dan and Dane would take 6 hours to watch this. Dude, Dan and I would take 6 hours to watch it. Tony and I would take 6 hours to watch it. Alex, if you were here, I mean, I wouldn't put it past us for, same situation. It's just when I get somebody in the room that I can nerd out over car stuff with, forget it. The video is going to be secondary to like me trying to probe like interesting conversations out of people that only I'm interested in. But then again, that's why you're on my Twitch stream and not somebody else's, because yeah, I'm very like down the rabbit hole with that stuff. But don't worry, I'm clicking on Jamie the Cleaner's very helpfully suggested TikTok here. Excuse me. I'll not watch it yet, but I'm going to put it in the queue. So I just need to click it so I don't lose track of it. Okay. Oh boy, that's gonna get a little crazy. All right, we're gonna put that right after this video. So continuing on.
Hand contact. That's a lot going on. I appreciate you guys letting this thing go a little bit for me. I know you don't normally keep it this way.
It's never like this.
Yeah, we got some actual dirt on this thing. I'll get to work on this thing, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow. You wanna come see the record? Come on,
Oh,
look at this
puppy.
thing. What do you think? You gonna help me clean it or what? The big question is, what do we got in here? Oh.
I mean, I can't fault this guy's hustle, but I'm automatically like super cynical and skeptical whenever I see somebody using cute animals in their videos to guarantee they're gonna get themselves a like. Because damn it, that's a cute puppy. Of course I'm gonna click like. Damn it.
But let's get on it. I'm gonna tackle the inside first. I got some new Milwaukee toys. This is an underhood light. Yeah. I have a feeling that it'll work on the roof of this. Oh my god. It works. This is cool, so you can angle it. It's gonna be really helpful. So one thing I need in my interior shots is really
It's got
good
the
lighting.
Milwaukee
This
battery
should really
attached to it.
help. Look
Okay.
at the brightness in here. I mean, this is gonna be great just for doing the work. Never mind filming. Wow. Minimal.
Man, Milwaukee will find literally any way they possibly can to just find a new thing to put their batteries on, because it's enhancing the whole experience of the ecosystem of, well, all their battery powered stuff. I can't knock it though. All the stuff I tried when I was at SEMA was awesome.
Shadows too, because of the.
This is off-label use of F11 Pro.
I literally just buy everything outright, even from people I distribute for. I want to feel the pain of having spent the money so that I give real feedback. And I think this thing is a winner. I'm excited
look at
about
that.
this thing. All right, let's clean the inside of this. Wow, that makes such a big difference. Look how much light I have down here. This is insane. Got my heavy-duty APC in here, straight up.
The Blue IK. The elusive Blue IK. It's an alky. Alkaline.
I got these Prevo air compressor couplings. They're real nice.
Prevo or Prevost? I never know how people pronounce it. Prevost, though, is like the giant RV manufacturer that's like really, really high end RVs, like a Prevost bus. This dude has all the IKs. Sorry, Dan. My bad. Isn't that a great sound? Milwaukee addicts are such because they can't afford hard drugs and alcohol. Counterpoint, Alex. I think they can afford hard drugs and alcohol for the price you're paying for like as much Milwaukee stuff as Milwaukee addicts are. Although DeWalt may charge even more than Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I feel like you're getting your money's worth because some of the stuff is legit awesome. DeWalt, historically, I always thought, oh, that's like a nicer brand, but I don't know. Given the choice, yeah, I would steer more towards Milwaukee these days. That freaking M18 Fuel Impact driver that I have, the one that Anthony can never shut up about, it is truly next level awesome. That nut busting torque is no joke. Shit's wild. Horror Freight. Hey, it's not October anymore. We can't be doing that.
Splurged on this too. It's got a Milwaukee belt hook. This is the best vacuum I've ever gotten in my life. Let's see how it works on the inside. The little button right here.
This is like the only vehicle you can actually wear a backpack on and not bump into literally everything.
I do have the brush attachment. Let's try that actually. Oh, that's right.
Something about the way this guy's video is edited reminds me a little of Whistling Diesel and the way he edits his videos. Just a little bit. Something about the contrast between, you know, the action and then just quiet moments. But the other thing I was going to say is, in the midst of editing, I really wish people who do these kinds of videos would take the time to level their like voice audio, the vocal audio specifically, isolate it from the other sounds and like pick it up a bit. Because man, this guy's voice, it just blends into the background. It does not project, it does not cut through. There's nothing about it that like separates it from like the background hum. It's just such a like kind of baritone. You're not picking up on the details. It's just a little frustrating. Europa's polisher sound is arguably trademarkable. So nice.
No
I agree.
To wear this
I agree.
as a backpack when you're in the cab, I think. So like this button here, yeah, this just kind of comes right off. And then this thing can just get thrown inside. I think that'll be a little easier. It's got this little
that's cool.
kind of cool. I wonder if that could be like, oh, maybe. Look at this cool swivel thing. This is an amazing piece.
That is ingenious. That is some very, very good design. Granted, I wouldn't be hanging it off the door pocket for fear that it would fall off and like hit the paintwork or something, but damn, that's cool.
I love this one. It might still be easier just to have a long hose and a normal like vacuum, but this is fun. I don't know. Hey. Oh man, I like it. I use my glass cleaner for spots like this.
Yeah, I like that setup. That's a great arrangement.
This grime here is going to come off real nice. So I've just got my inexpensive edgeless microfiber rag. Stuff's going to come in real handy.
Kind of looked a little like a
stuff,
minor
like,
edgeless.
leaves a lot of oil on the glass, so like you want to spray the rag if you can. I use this stuff before I clean the glass because any overspray of it that gets on the glass is going to look really schmeary. Not going to look good.
Schmeary.
I like to use the brush with this stuff because it kind of froths it up a little bit and it gets into the grain of the vinyls and leathers and whatnot. It's just a nice, soft, gentle brush to get in the seams and all the little spots that are rag.
Edgeless 245. I mean, he said inexpensive, so my instinct would be 245. However, just looking at it at a glance based on the color, I would have assumed, without seeing how thick it is, I would have assumed it was an edgeless minor. which is not the most inexpensive by any means, but is a good towel. Really good for those kinds of purposes. But if you're doing like door jams and like nasty stuff that you know you're going to be subjecting chemicals on it and stuff like that, 245s are awesome. They're the highest quality cheap towel you can get. Everybody else is... That's like the whole philosophy. Everybody else is always like race to the bottom. Make the cheapest, most disposable microfiber towels ever. Whereas like our policy is more like, well, can we make a nice version of that thing? So yeah, that's what the 245s are supposed to be.
This is the green.
And yes, miners
set.
are
I think they're gonna like this
the
one.
shit.
Everyone seems to like this one. Be nice and fresh.
Actually, DF knockoff, nice. Oh, you know there's been some oils on that seat. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Look how much is coming off there. Damn. Yep. And then here comes Dan with a literal, I got to hang around actual goats yesterday. One of them got lost and started screaming. Oh my god. And it always sounds horrifying when they do, too. It's terrible. There's literally like a little goat petting zoo farm thing that's just down the road from my house. It's so funny. Whenever I'm driving like to or from work, if I take the alternate route and I go down the road through a neighborhood where that house is, without fail, every time you drive by, if the weather is even halfway decent, you'll see people who are like on walks with their dogs outside and they're stopped feeding the goats or like petting them and stuff. It's every time. It sounded eerily like a human child. Yeah, it sounds like a person. It's always creepy.
Material. Just see what we can do.
Or that. Yeah, no, those Taylor Swift videos with the screaming goats. Trouble, trouble. Didn't help we were across from an elementary school. Ah, yeah. Now the video is incredibly quiet. Oh, look how nasty that brush slash sponge slash scrub tool is getting. I mean, I don't recognize that particular scrub tool, but if it's anything like the ones I know, they are awesome to have. And they work different than you expect. Ooh, one more time. That was beautiful.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, see, I need to start incorporating more transitions of before and afters like that into our videos. That was beautiful. Also, am I the only person here surprised at the fact that this has an automatic transmission? I thought for sure it was going to be yet another one of those big tractor trailer semi-truck. Yeah, see those? That's just push button gear select. It's an Allison transmission, pretty standard. But yeah, no, you just got reverse, neutral, and drive. Like, when I think a semi-truck, I'm usually picturing something with like 23 gears or something in there. Rubber floors, what a treat. Yeah, no, that's definitely something that separates this truck from basic traffic that you're going to run into at a regular detail shop. I'll take this over short loop royalty-free EDM. Agreed. Didn't help. Okay, yeah. G. Davis isn't allowed around. I knew somebody was going to make an elementary school joke. It was only a matter of time. I think a lot of newer semis are auto, not sure. Okay, I just haven't looked at many recent semi-trucks, I guess. I'm just so used to the concept of sitting there like basically you have a set of like 6 overall gears or 10 overall gears, and then those are subdivided into like an upper and a lower version of each one of those gears, and it just keeps multiplying. It's like a bicycle. But usually that's for like towing purposes, I guess, if you're towing a giant load. In the case of a tow truck, I mean, you're towing,
Let's
but
get the outside clean.
slightly different than carrying like a big regular
This thing
trailer.
up for me, Conan?
Are you licking off the dirt?
Keep going. Help me out.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna soak this up with a little bit of the heavy duty, just straight up undiluted. I like to use it strong, but I'm gonna scrape off some of this so that it doesn't get all over my wash bay. I might just pre-soak some of this stuff, just a couple spots. Where
Yeah, that is
heavy
a
duty can help break
full-on
down the
pre-soak
heavier grease
situation if
ahead
I
of
ever
time.
saw it.
We got some greases up here, some greases over
Man, look at those
here,
massive
greases
D
over
rings.
here. Yeah, it'll just give it that little extra pop.
Puppy's so cute.
Here we go.
Oh, don't get the chemicals on the dog.
What I'm gonna do with this, I'm just gonna soak it on there and I'll rinse it off along with the Stars and Stripes wash.
Now, what I'm curious is he's advertising this as a polish-safe degreaser plus APC. I mean, it never even occurred to me that you would need to say polish-safe degreaser APC. Anybody know what he means by that? Like, what he's implying? I mean, other than the fact that it's polish-safe, like, what do you mean by that? And why did you feel the need to say that? Oh, look at that cut, though. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that green under there is
Oh,
gonna be
it's
so
safe
nice.
for people from Poland. I should have known.
Can't wait to see this thing clean.
Polish, not polish. I am dumb.
Oh, we got grease running off. Get it.
Yeah, Ethan, I was just confused by that because I'm like, polishing wasn't even, and polishing never enters my mind if I'm degreasing or running an APC on something, because it's my understanding that I'm going to clean a surface before I ever polish anything. Just straight up. I'm guessing paint safe degreaser. Well, Jamie, but if it was paint safe degreaser, then just say that. Why would you say polish safe? I mean, it was just weird. It felt unnecessary. I don't know. I get locked in on these things, and when I see something that looks strange to me, I want to just sit there and go, why? Why? Why did you say that? Clearly you thought there was a reason to, but why? And yeah, Dan beat you to it.
Alright, that's enough of this stuff.
Is it?
Alright, let's get this measurement. We're gonna do a scientific survey of how much soap it takes.
Oh god, here comes a well-balanced audio. Run, dog, run! I just hope the dog isn't tempted to lick any of that, because that probably wouldn't be very good at all.
I forgot to set the timer. See if we can figure this out later on. We'll figure out how to edit that. Alright, watch out, Kona. We're going in for another round.
True, Alex. It reminds you of the TRC horse bath video, where the horse literally like passed away 2 months after we did that video, and I swear to God, I had nothing to do with that video, because the chemicals we ended up using in the video on the horse to clean it were actual like equine safe, intentionally horse care products. They were not detailing products unless otherwise specified. Like that was it. But it was just such an unfortunate turn of events to find out 2 months later, like, oh, hey, how's the mini horse doing? And then he's like, yeah, passed away. And it's just like, oh, no. Yeah. Dog licked the front bumper just now. Oh, dog likes it spicy. No, we're not encouraging that. We are not encouraging that. Oh, boy. Okay, dog's got his toy. He's good. Is this safe for the horse? PH12 dog food. No. Okay, so not safe for the horse. Got it. Ah, man. There's no winning. Horse-sounding horse. Could you imagine? I don't know. This horse sounds like it has a frog in its throat. Ooh, Papa Chrome's got some work to do on this truck. Yeah, I'm thinking those wheels and those stacks on the side. Let me add it with some metal polish. Washing a semi outdoors in the heat, yeah, no, not a remotely fun exercise. At least in here, he's got a controlled environment.
All right.
Unfortunately, that dog is probably soaked now.
Hey, 36 minutes plus like 4 minutes maybe, because I forgot to set the timer off. So I'll have to look at the actual footage in the edit and see how long it really was. But around 40 minutes. So it took about 10 minutes longer than I wanted, but I did take my time because I wanted to do a halfway decent job. There's a lot of stuff to aim at on this, don't surprise. It's like washing a crane. I think it took me just a few minutes longer to wash a Terex crane. Look at the paint on this thing. This is a really cool record. Let's take a close-up look at some spots where I think I could have done a little better. So this is interesting. So somehow I forgot to spray heavy duty on that one. But I got these ones. So look at the difference. You can see how much more grease there is still on that one with just the stars and stripes versus pre-soaking with the heavy duty.
Yeah, no, this place is bigger than the TRC studio. This place looks huge, dude.
Touch up that spot because I can't leave it like that. This thing's going to be holding up the flag on next weekend at a car show.
This looks like half of a high school like basketball gymnasium.
So I want it to be specifically these areas looking good. So we'll get all that tuned up. This came out great though. Look at all this. Little heavy duty pre-soak, got all that grease off of there. Looking fantabulous.
Actually, based on what I can assume from looking at the footage, the building itself is probably similar in length to our studio at my day job, but the ceiling in here, way higher. Way higher. Yeah, that's cutting through a lot better. I was gonna say, he felt the need to point that out. I mean, the heat would help, yeah. In that particular case.
Alright, that's a little better. But yeah, this thing looks pretty good. My floor looks like a mess.
Bucky says, wash took 36 minutes, but please take 2 minutes and click the link and sign up for my Skillshare down below in the video description. And smash that thumbs up and click that bell. Yeah, that's right. Look at those cable guides. The degreaser turned one white. Wow. Hell to the yeah.
I'll tell you what, this thing cleaned up nice.
So
Look at
quiet.
these rims. Woo! So this will be fun to see 100% dry because black is a tough color to do without contact. But can you imagine these guys that are out here hand washing this thing? They said it takes them like 3 hours. Can't even imagine. Boy, look at this paint though. What a cool, it's got that pearlescent thing going on. I love it.
I mean, is it paint or is it a wrap? I'm guessing the front nose of the truck is painted, but the graphics on the back, like all the compartments and stuff, are probably wrapped, I would assume. I'm guessing. Because that information may change over time, but your overall style of the truck you want to keep up front. Probably that case.
I didn't even realize. I'm grateful that they let it go for me so that I could get some actual value in.
Yoshi, I think what he was using was alkaline, but I don't know for sure. Pretty sure he was using something in the alkaline side of things, though.
On this video and what we can get done, but
he was using a blue
nice
IK sprayer, the alkaline type.
All right, well,
One.
with the heavy lifting done, let's get some snake oil onto this thing so that it'll be all hydrophobic, you know, and it'll be easier for me to dry it off so we can see what we got. Wow, used a ton of soap. Well, at this rate, you'd only get 4 washes out of a set of gallons. That's like 1 3/4 inches worth of soap. Oh my gosh.
Alex, there's always one.
I don't know, maybe I went on a little heavy. All right, I'm gonna hook up my snake oil in place of one of these here. Hang on, let me just lift off this cap. I'll bring over my snake oil and just plug it in right here. And that way I won't have to use the other machine back there. I want to use this boom again because this is convenient. So let's hook that up and we'll rock it.
That's a nice boom.
Let's see how much of this we use. Probably be about the same. We'll see.
I do honestly love the fact that he carries a product literally called snake oil. Like, that takes some balls to do. That's good.
Here we go.
Wait, he's got a light mounted at the end of that thing? Oh, no, he doesn't. For some reason, I thought he had it like a tactical, like, mag light mounted at the end of that. Like, just a very sharp, focused one. No, Alex, that's exactly it. Like, it's ballsy, but it's one of those gambles that if it pays off, it pays off. You just gotta make yourself a big enough deal that people actually have that conversation in the first place. If you're small time and you make a product called snake oil and you don't do something to like really build it up, people aren't necessarily ever gonna notice it. There's some fun in that. No, but from a marketing standpoint, that's pretty great. I like that. That's the kind of stuff where I salute it.
Damn, yeah. That's exactly the same amount of soap. Well, I guess it takes a lot of soap to wash down a record. It's a very similar experience to washing the Terex crane, I gotta say. So I guess you could expect
Picatinny rail and a mag light on the next OG Spec Mosmatic 1. Dan, I'm not saying that's something that will happen, but I'm saying it's something that should happen. It can't be legit if it isn't tactical. We all know this. At least, you know, for those who nerd out over, everyday carry type stuff, somebody is going to get excited at the thought of, oh my god, I can mount a flashlight on the end of my Mosmatic wand.
about 5 washes on this out of a set of gallons of pretty much.
God, he's quiet again. This freaking mix is driving me crazy.
It's a big time saver. Probably into this thing for about an hour. Not bad. Alright, so we got.
This is my new product, F5. It's so refreshing. Damn it, Alex, that is a great joke, and I wonder if anybody will actually get it. Because you made me feel like my IQ jumped 10 points for having got that, like 5 seconds after going, oh. You have a decade-old shirt with that on. Okay, I've literally never heard anybody say that before, so I thought it was smart. But, you know, good on you for being transparent. Thanks, Dan. God, this sound mix drives me crazy, though. Please, just level your audio. You have 205,000 subscribers. You can afford to do it. And if you can't afford to do it, you can hire somebody who can afford to do it.
The only thing that's not done in-house on this truck is the signs that are done on this truck. All the lettering on this truck is the only thing that was not done in-house.
Wow. It's a testimony to what you guys do then.
Here comes that trap remix. Yep. Yeah, Alex. I wasn't gonna say it, but I was thinking those looked like PNS bottles the entire time as I was looking. Just in terms of the shape and the label placement and all that stuff. I was like,
Pleasure.
We got it in exhibit now. I'll be honest, like, I thought I was on top of all this YouTube stuff, but you guys surprised me. I'd never heard or seen Chemex before, so the fact that it's a 205,000 subscriber channel and I haven't heard of it, that's my bad. God, he's got over 750,000 views on this thing. Okay, clearly it's reaching people, but I think it's always fascinating when it comes to like YouTube detailing channels and the ones you pay attention to and the ones you don't, and like where it feels like it's part of the orbit of the ecosystem of detailing products, you know, and then when you see others where they feel like they're like just totally in another universe and they're not operating by the same rules, same stuff that you are, and it just feels like another world. I'm always fascinated by that because obviously I'm familiar with like our ecosystem, the people we know, but there's whole groups and viewerships out there that don't know us or don't know anything about us or the people we, you know, associate with. So I always find that interesting. But I just realized he's using the products his channel makes. Yes, Yoshi, that was kind of the point when I was looking at that. I was like, Chemex, he's using Chemex products. Okay, that was just me figuring it out there on the spot. But he's gonna go tow Karen's Yukon Denali from a fire lane now. Let go. That's true. But no, it's just, it's interesting. Corvette Dudes YouTube detailing snake oil and found this guy and sub. That's the key. Yes. You have to think about your target audience, but that is smart. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely decently popular channels out there in detailing where it's flown under my radar. Like I used to pay really close attention to like what the landscape looked like and who the big players were and like who were the up and comers, where it felt like the actual momentum was, that kind of thing. Because yeah, I mean, obviously you look and you see, you know, Larry's always been kind of like a pinnacle figure in that space because he's done a really good job of making his brand and himself appear a certain way to, you know, his audiences. Very professional, very like upper level. And then you get these other ones where they kind of have their niches, like Detail Groove talks a lot about the business side of things. And then, of course, Obsessed Garage has kind of become its own monster in a way. But, man, I remember when Obsessed Garage was just buying from us and he was just in his garage. He wasn't selling anything. I remember finding it so fascinating because he had a website that he had made to catalog all the products that he used in his garage, but he wasn't selling anything. It was literally him just like saying, I get enough people asking me on my YouTube channel where I get this stuff from, so I just made a website to like organize it. And then he was like linking to us and other places where he got his stuff at. So it was just fascinating. And I could always track the traffic through there and just go, oh, okay, what's this Obsessed Garage? And follow it. But then like Pan kind of blew up out of nowhere. And then you get these other guys who just kind of pop off. But I've been really happy with what the Grandambassador program has managed to do. Jamie, I'm looking at you. Alex, I'm looking at you. Everybody else who's been a part of that, I'm looking at you. But no, I think it's really opened up some cool doors and stuff and opportunities, and I'm glad to see people thriving. So, yeah, I think it's fun. I like that. But, excuse me. Alex, I've heard of Chemex before, but I wasn't super into it, so I didn't follow. Not saying he's not good or doesn't have a great product, just out of my lane. Exactly. It was just kind of like out of my own lane. So thank you, Ethan, for sharing that because I had no clue. Glad I'm not being looked at. I like my secrecy, Dan. You're safe, Dan. You're safe. And you have fair reason to, you know, just do your own thing. But yeah, no, shout out Jamie and Alex doing the cleaner cast and all that good stuff. I love seeing those. So keep on keeping on. All right. So next up, let's check out. I'm going to subscribe just because I want to see if there's new stuff coming out. I may check out some more. I can always unsubscribe at any time, but for now, I'm just going to click that. I always look at you, Dan, you're my phone background. Oh, no. But yeah, Ethan, that was a good suggestion, and it got me out of my normal comfort zone, so that was cool. I like that. If you have any more, that goes for all of you watching right now. If any of you guys have like a video where you're like, oh, I haven't watched it yet, but I wanted to, and maybe I want to watch it with all y'all, go ahead and throw it into the comments, link it, and we'll check it out. But moving along, let's see what Jamie shared here. The actions in this video are performed by professionals or supervised by professionals. Do not attempt. Well, look forward to this. Oh, God. What on earth? No. That's not... That's not possible. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, okay. Sneaky. I see what they did there. Son of a bitch. Okay, so here's what happens. No, damn it. I'm trying to move to the beginning of the video. Come on. I'm not trying to. Oh my God. Okay. So what I was going to say was the whole. This is how videos trick you, because that looked goddamn vertical. Obviously, when you see the way these guys are standing, gravity is keeping them upright, right? They're standing straight up and down. But if you look at it on the frickin' footage, they look like they're standing off to the side. And you're like, wait a second. So correct your horizon, and suddenly that extremely steep, which is still extremely steep video, doesn't look quite as insane. Because it's not him climbing a literally gravity-defying vertical surface and somehow maintaining grip, because that would be fucking crazy. No, it's just the phone is tilted. The horizon is incorrect. The horizon is the line over there that is very clearly not straight right now. Anyway, yeah, thank you. I'm not saying it's not wild, because it was. It was just one of those things where I had to I had to draw the line somewhere. Yeah, okay. So, mixing things up. I am moving on to, well, he's not my phone background. I did something playing the new God of War to come see what Dane's doing. Oh, you did pause it. Okay, Flag, thank you. Well, I hope you're enjoying God of War. I never got into those games, but I know people who like them, they love them. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, that TikTok was definitely designed to trick you. But it was effective for about 5 seconds before I was like, hey, how come those guys standing straight up and down are like standing like this? Yeah, that seemed weird. Anyway, before I go on to the next detailing video, I want to... Where is it? Somewhere on here, maybe. Oh, okay. There we go.
Is that a sticker?
Okay. So this one I wanted to pull up just because it was in our booth and it was fun. But Freddy running around checking out people's stuff. Yeah, classic Dane explains like it's described. See, I got you. I totally got you on there. But I couldn't resist. I saw it and I just went, I need to check this out. So Freddy finally releases his video from SEMA. So I've got that there. But before I watch that, I just wanted to add it to my queue. But we'll check that out in a little bit. That Supra that was in our booth during SEMA was beautiful. I love that thing. Anyway, why don't we take a look at fixing curbed wheels? I'm sure all of us at some time or another, whether we did it or someone we know did it, have experienced the pain that comes with curbing a set of wheels. Maybe it's just one, maybe it's multiple, but regardless, it sucks. It's not fun, unless you're on some really shitty steelies that you don't care about. Most times you're not, though, so yeah, what do? In this case, it's a Donut Media video again. I know, I keep giving them views. I don't know why at this point, but they keep churning them out, and this one, once again, is from like a year ago, so it's actually relevant. Yeah, why don't we check it out?
Has this ever happened to you? You're on your way to your boy's house. You just swung through McDonald's. You picked up 2 Happy Meals, one for you, one for your boy. Everything's going great. It's a beautiful day. And then you're parking, and all of a sudden,
Yep, that feeling, except when I did it, it was in Dat Booty, my monster truck. Yoshi, I could have swore y'all said you were going to have a 430 in the booth. Yes, Yoshi, that is exactly what we thought, because Freddy told us that's what was going to happen. He was originally planning on bringing the Ferrari 430 Scuderia he'd been working on and like building up and doing the transmission swap. He'd been working on it for the better part of a year. And unfortunately, the whole transmission swap part of it wasn't happening until right before SEMA, like literally a week, 2 weeks leading into it. They were planning on doing some stuff. As I understand it, someone got sick or something, and then it just got all held up. So that was a hard part for him, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't happen. However, luckily for us, Freddy is a man of many cars, so he was able to bring a substitute, and it was a great substitute. Honestly, people walking by the booth, I think more people stopped for the Supra than would have stopped for the 430. Honestly, that's my opinion though. But they really did. Like, people were just in love with the Supra walking by. They wanted to check it out, and a lot of people checking it out had no idea it was even Freddie's. Like, and I keep saying Freddie. If you don't know Freddie, his name on YouTube is Tavarish, so you may have seen his stuff. But anyway, that's what happened there. Jamie the Cleaner, does anyone else enjoy a nice glass of non-alcoholic eggnog once it gets cold like I do? So tasty. I agree. I love a good eggnog. Sometimes, though, it tastes almost like... I've had some that weirdly taste like minty, like mouthwash or toothpaste or something. It's gross. If it's bad, it's gross. But if it's good, hey, I like it.
Oh, you curbed your wheels! It happens to the best of us, and the worst of us. These are the wheels that came on my S14, an old set of MB Battles, and honestly, I'm kind of a fan of these wheels. The problem is, they came beat up. I take no credit for this curb rash. I swear that's how I got them. So today, we're gonna see if we can fix these things up enough that I can stand looking at them. So I took a trip to my local body shop supply store and the old Home Depot, got some supplies, and today, we're gonna take a crack at making these things look a whole lot better. I'm Zach, this is Money Pit. Let's fix that rash.
Let's fix that rash. Oh, God.
Buenos noches dias, muchachos, and gracias to my gachu. Your take right on .com/. Chips are not that good, but they're so addicting.
So, being that this is such a ubiquitous problem in the car community, everybody's got curbed wheels. Well, what can you do?
Oh, no.
Obviously,
Alex coming
you
in
can go
with
buy
the
a new set of
Canadian.
wheels.
You
That
don't
costs
know
a bunch of
cold.
money. Or you can have somebody come fix your wheels for you. But that also costs a bunch of money, like $75 to $125 per wheel. I, however, think that the third and final option is the way to go. We're gonna go with a DIY wheel refinishing today and see if we can save some cash and make these things look a little bit less like ass. Not bad. Pretty good, does a rhyme. So, I've got all the supplies, I've got the curved
Only
wheels.
rash
Now
cornstarch
the question
can't
is, can I
fix.
put these
Ooh,
things together
that's a good
to
point.
make this wheel look new again?
Next step is Dave's
Yeah, I
signature
kinda
paint
think so.
strip
I've done
remove.
stuff
Oh
like
my
this
God.
Before. I think I'm going to be able to do
Does
this,
it
make
involve
this thing
a
look really
bowl?
good, and I think it's only going to take about 4 hours. But that's kind of the rub. It is going to cost you some elbow grease. It's always the trade-off, folks. DIY life. Let's get into it. First thing you may notice is that we've removed the tire from this wheel. Now, sure, you could try to refinish wheels with the tires on and maybe just mask them off.
Our new Colt
but
for
I
2023.
don't think that's the way to do it. I think we need to be able to work the lip, and I want to be able to paint this whole thing. Get your tires off. Now, the second step,
I'm just trying to figure out how that wheel got so marred up underneath that the main flat area, you know, where the tire's supposed to sit over it. How did you manage to get enough rotation and scratches and swirls and stuff on there? Like, all my wheels are basically flawless along that entire area, even my OEMs.
I'm going to take things off this, like the center cap and the valve stem and the weights, and then I'm going to go wash this thing really well to get as much dirt, grease, and grime off of it as I can. And then we'll really get into refinishing.
Oh, you got to break out the TRC hoodie. Good man.
So this is where the elbow grease starts to come in. My forearms are going to be tired after today, I'm sure. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is spray them down with degreaser. Then I'll scrub that, agitate it a
Oh
bit.
God, that brush on those
We
wheels.
don't need to worry about the barrels too much, obviously,
It's okay though. The wheels aren't that great. It's okay.
because they're going to be inside of the tires, but might as well clean them up, at least a little.
Yeah, just keep hitting it.
Paint doesn't stick to
that'll
grime,
work.
so we got to get it all off. And then I think I'm going to hit them with the pressure washer to try to save myself a little bit of that precious elbow grease. All right, so we got all the loose stuff off. Now we're going to hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad and some brake parts cleaner and get all the real set-in brake dust and stuff out of here. If you guys like watching me sweat and struggle, well, you might as well subscribe. Please. All right, now that is a pretty clean wheel. Now it's time to scuff the paint. So I'm gonna take this stuff and get in all the nooks and crannies and get all the paint scuffed up. Then we're ready to go work on the rash. So this is just an abrasive goop.
Oh yeah, the lack of PPE is a feature, not a bug. For those who aren't aware, PPE is personal protective equipment I'm just saying that in case anybody here is like super new at this stuff and isn't familiar with the acronyms, which is something I usually try and do at my day job because I work with two detailers who've been doing it for quite a while, and I usually have to be the one to translate to us fellow normies.
And it's kind of like liquid sandpaper.
Yeah, Dad. Dude, you've been
Now, I want
scuffing
to
the
make
wheels
sure
the
that I
whole
get
time.
this area real good. I want to make sure that the paint is as good as it is on the face, at least a couple inches into the barrel, just to make
you
sure
got a
that
rash,
no
it's too late
peeling
for gloves.
starts over here and then creeps onto the face. Okay, now we've got a very well cleaned and partially sanded wheel. So now
I'm just going to have a brief too much information moment for y'all here. Thanks to SEMA, where I walked endlessly for many hours for many days, I actually managed to literally get blisters on the insides of my thighs from just being a bigger dude and them brushing against each other. And the mixture of just like heat, sweat, all that stuff. It's gross, but at the same time, it's like, holy crap, you gotta look out for yourself because you figure, oh, maybe my shoes will beat up my feet or whatever. No, like freaking legs brushing against each other is also something that can happen, and I have to put freaking band-aids on them now. That's how ridiculous it is. I put like aloe spray on there, but you got to be careful not to get it too close to like other spots because apparently you're not supposed to do that and it can burn you, and that's bad. But in that case, it's just having to fight those off. That's bad enough. Anyway, back to the wheels. I know nobody wanted to hear that, but I had to tell people that I've been walking around and doing my daily walks with this freaking just blisters that hurt like a mother every day. And do I whine about it? No, except for right now. That's the only time I've really made a point is talking about it. So anyway, moving on.
now it's time to work on the rash.
Thick thighs save lives. Agreed, Alex.
All
Agreed.
right, so here's our wheel and we're ready to fix our rash. So let's talk about the method. So I've got a series of hand files here that I'm going to use to smooth out all the areas that are all smashed up. So of course we got a lot of curb rashing, not too big of a deal. But right
Haven't
here,
touched Vaseline,
you can see
but
there's a bit of a
that is
dent.
an idea.
But it's not that bad of a dent. It didn't leak air, and it really isn't that noticeable. So I'm
Thank
just going
you-
to file
thank
it
you
and get
for
it nice
the,
and smooth
kind
and paint
thoughts.
this sucker.
Cornstarch, huh?
And the backside's a bit banged up too, which really, obviously, I don't care too much about the backside, but it's curb rashed in a way that leaves a really sharp edge that I've already.
Yeah, no, not to go back on the topic again, but I actually took pictures very carefully, nothing showing, but just like of the actual areas where like the skin broke and I was like bleeding and everything. And I just showed those pictures to Levi and Anthony and those guys. And I just made it really clear, like, okay, if anybody wants to complain about walking at SEMA, it should be me. And here's why. And then they're all just like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, it was great.
cut my hand on today. So I'm gonna knock that down too. Why not? And I'm gonna start on the back just to get the old juices flowing.
Just
If I'm
bathe
gonna
in
mess anything up,
cornstarch.
might as well be the back. Basically what I'm doing is just going around with the rough or the coarse side of the file, knocking down all the big stuff, and then I go back around with the fine side of the file and clean it up. All right, the back side of the wheel is filed. I could clean it up more, but being that it's the back of the wheel, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna work on the part that I actually care about, the front, and we'll make this look real nice.
Robots. Notice he is wearing gloves now, because if you have ever gotten metal shavings on your skin, your bare skin before, it is quite possibly one of the most infuriating feelings on earth. Because as soon as it's in there, the more you try and touch it, the more you try and move it around, the more it embeds itself. It's horrible. Never get metal shavings on your bare skin. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10. Don't do it. Loser, good day.
Not bad. I think we're on the right track here. This looks a lot better after filing. We've got a nice smooth lip. So that's pretty much going to be the filing done. Now it's time to bust out the sandpaper. While this is pretty smooth, you can still see the filing marks. Though they're not deep, I would like to remove them. So I'm going to hit that with some sandpaper, smooth that out. And all these blemishes in the paint, I'm going to feather those out, which means
It's honestly triggering me that he's got his freaking bare fingers moving closely to where those little shavings were, because I've just had way too many points where I touched metal shavings by accident, and regretted it horribly.
Just sand them until they nicely and
It's giving me
smoothly flow
anxiety watching it get
from
that
the
close
scuff
to
part
it.
into actual paint. And then we're one step closer to painting. All right, so for sanding, we've got some options. I've got 4 different grits: 180, 220, 320, and 400. The lower the number with sandpaper, the more aggressive the grit. The higher the number, the more
Those are all
fine the
pretty
finish is
aggressive,
going to be.
but it's metal,
so I'm going
so
to
you
use the
gotta
coarser grits to knock down these larger blemishes where I need to
You're not cutting paint at this point. You're cutting metal.
actually, get some paint off there to feather that in nicely. But I'm gonna finish with the finest grit, that 400. Just make things nice and smooth. However, it can be too smooth. You do want to have some very minuscule scratches in your surface before you paint it. Those tiny scratches are what your new paint adheres to. So I'm gonna go up to a 320 grit and get this thing ready for primer. Then we'll spray some primer.
While he's on that, let's see what Alex is sharing here. Oh no.
Previously on...
Oh my god, see? You got me. The only wheel cleaning you need is at 18 or so. Oh god. Yep, 1820. There it is. Gotta go. I have to catch a calc test tomorrow. I need to study for. Enjoy the rest of this week. All right, Ethan. Well, thank you for sharing your video. We really appreciate that. That was a good one. So if you find more like that, or just something that you feel like, hey, maybe you haven't seen it before, go and throw it our way. Throw it in the chat. I always appreciate that. So you have a good night, Ethan, and the rest of us will continue to have a good stream here. I'm thinking of probably streaming for the next hour, maybe 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. We'll see. Play it by ear. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch my horrible work on these wheels. Do not recommend. Now, where I am excited is I've got these wheels on. Holy shit, I'm wearing the same hat on the car, and I think I could do a decent job painting. I like to think I've had good luck. I am happy to say my moves have shrunk considerably since then. Alright, got these bad boys outside. I'm gonna start spraying them down. We'll see how it goes. I was such a moron with these. I just like delivering like, oh, fuck that up. Oh. That was so bad. I'm going to take these off, and with the helpful advice of Levi here, I'm going to get some aircraft stripper, and we are going to rip the ever-loving shit out of these things. God. It's so bad.
It's just getting like worse and worse.
It's so bad. It's supposed to be that you spray the surface down with aircraft stripper on old paint that you want to get rid of, and then you shoot it with a pressure washer, and theoretically it should break off. But with such fresh paint that I clearly was just trying to hit the reset button on, that was not something that was going to play nice. It actually made it more difficult that the paint wasn't old. The fact that it was so new meant it hadn't had time to fully cure or do any of this stuff yet, so it was only going to get worse. Kind of seems like maybe I should have... I definitely feel like we should watch these at some point, though. This is just nightmare fuel. I don't know why I'm making everybody sit through this, but, you know. Gone just on a pair, and then got another can to do another pair, because while it is getting some, it's still not perfect. I need to get this sucker down to the bare metal. So, to be continued.
Over the last 2 weeks of struggles,
So bad.
let's come together and take a look at how their budgets are coming along.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, that's fun. Maybe I'll watch those with you guys sometime, if you felt like watching them with me, and I could give you like behind the scenes details or something. I don't know if we'll ever do anything quite like that again, but it was certainly very fun when it was working, and then it was not fun when things were not working, such as the point in the experience where the tail or the trailer that I rented to haul that BMW from where it was in Utah, when I was loading the BMW on there and the thing came unlatched and ran the freaking hung on the trailer straight into my tailgate of my brand new 2020 Toyota Tacoma pickup. That sucked. Yeah. So far, so good here, though.
All right, so I just got done using the 220 grit. I actually didn't have anything that necessitated the 180 grit, so I started with 220 and hit all the blemishes, including the whole lip, and it's starting to look pretty good. Now I'm gonna go back over it with 320 and just get some of these sanding marks out of the paint and bare metal.
Yeah, Dan, no joke. Levi's still trying to sell that damn truck, and he's had it for way longer than we originally
So this little
agreed
puppy is sanded and pretty much ready for primer, in my opinion. So before we go spraying this thing, I'm gonna wash it with soap and water, get it good and clean and perfectly dried, and then we'll come back here and talk about the whole paint situation. But first, I gotta clean this. All right, so I just washed this with soap and water, and with it good and clean, I can see a few little blemishes that I missed. And
No, he did not get the title. Apparently, they just... You'll have to ask him. It's such a clusterfuck. It's so dumb, that whole situation. It's basically one of those cases where, depending on who you get when you walk into the DMV, they can make life easy or they can make your life hell. And in his case, he got a person who decided, well, as the kids say, they chose violence. So it just snowballed and got worse and worse from there, forcing him to try and like get paperwork and agreements that were clearly not something he was ever going to be able to get, not realistically. It's stupid. So what he was left with was he had the registration that they did allow him to have before they recalled it or whatever. They said you can just run this out, but when it expires, you can't renew it until you get this other stuff fixed. So yeah, he's pretty stuck. I hope he just titles it in Vermont. Yeah, no, he could sell it to somebody in Vermont, I guess, or Florida.
You know, that's not entirely uncommon, but the time to fix them is now. So I'm gonna sand a few little things, then I'll wash it again, and then we'll be back where we're at. All right, this wheel is pretty much ready for primer, and we got away without even using any of this filler. With that said, it's time to talk about our painting situation. So here's what I got. This is a 3-part system. We've got primer, we've got color, and we've got clear coat. I went to the local body shop supply store this morning, and I asked him what the best primer he had was for aluminum alloy, which these wheels are. And this is what he gave me. It's $24 a can. It's not cheap. You can buy a lot cheaper spray can primer, but this is gonna lay really well. It's gonna have a nice spray pattern, and it's gonna dry really quickly and really well and be super sandable. It's also a high build primer, so it's gonna fill in any
That's what I
imperfections
needed
that
during
I may
my
have
project
missed.
car.
A good primer
totally
base
could have
gives
used
your
something
paint
like that, but
a
instead
good
I got
base to build
cheap
on.
stuff because
and
we
if
were
you
on
want
a
a nice
ridiculous
smooth
budget.
paint job, you need a good primer. So this is
And
one of the
2K
most
Clear.
important
2K Clear is the shit. I love 2K Clear. It's great.
steps in my opinion. The next step is the color. And this is actually, in my opinion, kind of the least important in terms of quality. This is just a standard Duplicolor bronze wheel paint that you can pick up at any auto parts store. It should spray decently, it should lay decently, and it should look pretty good. The trick is getting a spray can clear to look good. This is a $32 can of clear coat.
Yeah.
And most spray can clear coats are
2K Clear,
kind of whack
yes,
in my
sir.
opinion. In a real paint setting, you're mixing your clear coat with an activator. There's clear coat and then there's activator. You mix them together and then you spray it, and it's activated and it cures and it blends well together. Most spray can clears aren't that way. This one, however, my local body shop turned me on to this morning, and it's activated. You take this red cap off, and when you're ready to spray, you pop it into the bottom, and that acts as the activator to the clear coat. So then you have a 48-hour window to use this
you
can.
don't have much time
It's
after
gonna
that.
be the best result you can find out of a spray can.
It's
I'm
so
pretty
good,
confident
though. It
in
really
that,
is.
especially because I paid $32 for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our 3-stage process: primer, color, clear. And in total, I spent $69.
Nice.
Nice. Now I feel like I just talked a lot of game. Now it's time to find out if I can back it up. And to do that, I need to figure out how I'm gonna hang this thing up to paint it.
Well, no, that's a clever way to do that. Just use a tow strap. Spent $20 a can on 2K Clear. Yeah.
I think that'll work.
When
And
I got
obviously,
it,
I don't
it
care
cost
about
me about
painting this area,
$24
and I
a
don't care
can.
about painting this strap, so that's how we're gonna hang these things.
I mean, hey, if you just have a spare hoist laying around.
All right, we've got the wheel sanded, refinished, even hung up, and it's basically ready for primer. But the last thing we gotta do before we primer it is one of the most important things. Like I was saying earlier, a paint job is all in the prep work, and this step is one of the most important. So I've washed the wheel with soap and water, it's completely dried off, and now I'm gonna wipe it down
There
with
it is.
acetone.
I was
Even
wondering
the
when it
oil
was going to get to the point where he had to do the final, like, actual wipe clean.
on your fingertips, the grease that your finger leaves behind, can be enough to make paint lift when you try to spray it. So you need to make sure whatever you're painting is perfectly free of waxes and greases and oils. And acetone's a really good way to do that. So I'm gonna put some gloves on and wipe this whole thing down, and then we're ready to spray.
There we go.
Even though we just washed this thing, that would all be preventing us from a perfect paint job. All right, I know I said
that's
we'd
cool.
be ready to primer after.
He's actually doing the stuff I should have done when I was working on those wheels on the Z3.
Cleaning it, and I'm done cleaning it, but I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm just gonna put a little masking tape on the face of the wheel that meets up with the hub of my car. I don't really want any paint on that. You want that to be metal on metal. All right, it's taken a lot of work to get here, but we're finally ready to spray some paint. And of course, we're gonna start with primer. Now, of course, it's important to mention that if you're going to be painting anything with spray paint or otherwise, that you should be working in a well-ventilated area, and you should cover anything that you don't want overspray on it, or you should plan to clean it later. It's also a good idea to wear a mask. I'm in a pretty well-ventilated area, and I got a fan running, so I'm just going to wear my COVID mask. Now, once you got all that sorted out, it's important to read the directions on the can.
Somebody's going to get triggered by that.
The directions on this can tell me to shake it for 2 minutes. I'm gonna lay a medium wet coat. I'm gonna wait 5 to 10 minutes, then I'm gonna do it again. And then we're gonna sand this with 400 grit. All right, that's 1 medium wet coat, and by golly, looks pretty good. Round 2.
I was going to say, back to the PPE comments again. I always feel like he's gonna segue to a sponsor spot. Yeah, no, like they've gotten us to expect that to happen at any point. Me, I'm triggered by that. That's not the proper Yes, Yoshi. That's why I said that, because I'm like, okay, people are gonna be triggered by it, but it's not gonna be because of the COVID element of it. It's gonna be because it's not the right PPE for the job. So yeah, you're gonna upset someone. Let me tell you, as someone who worked in a almost as big space and had similar airflow, if I were to try and do that with just a like regular face mask, like a surgical face mask, forget it. You'd be getting so high from the fumes anyway, like it'd be stupid.
And that's 2 medium wet coats. Now we're gonna let that dry for probably about 30
Flag,
to 45
nobody has
minutes.
smoother
It
segues
says
than
it's
Linus Tech
sandable in
Tips.
as early as 15 minutes, but it's a little chilly out. I'm gonna crank the heat, let this thing bake, then we'll sand it with 400 grit. Then we're ready for burn.
Also, Dan spells segue correctly. Everybody else is wrong because the segues they're spelling are the frickin' two-wheeled monstrosity with handles that everybody was riding, including the CEO of the company who rode his off a cliff and died.
Bronze, baby. It'd be super funny if this fell off. I'm really impressed with this primer. It looks fantastic. It laid super smooth. I'm not gonna sand it. I'm just gonna spray bronze right on top of this.
Wow.
And it's gonna turn out good. The only thing I'm gonna do in between primer and color is use this tack cloth. Kind of similar to the acetone we used before. This is good for in between coats of paint, and it'll remove.
That's right, Yoshi. Yeah, when you get to the 2K clear with the activator and all that stuff, holy shit, that's gonna be, you gotta have a better mask than that when you're doing that for any length of time. When you're doing multiple vehicles, it's gonna be a rough one.
Remove wax, grease, or any debris in between coats. So I'm gonna touch it with this, then we're spraying bronze. All right, it's time to lay some bronze. Okay, 3 light coats followed by 1 medium wet coat. Pretty standard for color, and 10 minutes between each coat. Dries to the touch in 30 minutes and can be handled in 1 hour. Let's spray. You know, it's easy to get caught up and want to see the whole thing that you're painting change color with the first coat, but that's not the way to do it. Light coats are important. If you want to get your paint to lay and stick well, light coats. 1 light coat. Second coat, baby.
My only concern is how he's going to work around the frickin' strap being there, especially when it's kind of pushed towards the front, towards the face of the wheel. You're going to have like a big non-painted section unless you're scooting it around, but you're scratching it and stuff. I don't know how you're going to handle that. I mean, yeah, sure, paint over the strap.
10 minutes.
How are you going to get it on the wheel?
Sometimes it's kind of tricky to get just a medium light coat on.
Dan, the goal here wasn't to convince anybody that Donut Media had substance or quality. The quality was there in the early days. It truly was. Like, they actually, they had some real quality going on. Substance varies. Their Science Garage series and Bumper to Bumper actually had, early on, they had some really good substance tucked away in there for beginners, people who aren't as deep into cars as maybe you or me, but it was a good kind of gateway drug for people who didn't understand cars very well. Sure, you get a detail wrong from time to time, but it was a good way to at least get the passion there. And sometimes people communicate better through passion than they do through cold, hard clinical details. So I would be somebody who would argue in favor of their place in the world and say it was a good thing because it actually got more people interested in cars who otherwise may not have been. That's my own take. As far as the actual quality now, though, for the last year, it feels like it's all been going. So your mileage may vary.
On the wheel, especially when you have to hit so many faces, you just are forced to kind of overlap paint. So to avoid any runs,
Oh, duh, Yoshi. Okay, yeah. For some reason, my brain was like, oh, but there's a bare wheel, not thinking of the fact that, yes, there will be a tire over that, so who cares? Thank you. Yeah, that's my brain going down an avenue it didn't need to go down, so that's why.
I'm just going to wait a minute before I get
also
in the
have those
nooks and
K&N
crannies,
Master paper
and
thin.
ultimately that's going to make for more coats. But you just kind of have to do whatever you got to do.
Honestly,
to
I
paint
got the
thing
ones
you're
that
painting.
Color Lock made. They were stupid
Now, when you're
good.
painting anything with a real paint gun or spray paint, it's good practice to start the spray off of what you're spraying and move on to it. That initial burst of
Actual
paint,
K&N
that's where a lot of
filter.
stuff spits, and the spray pattern isn't as good as it is once it's spraying. So start off over here and work onto it. All right, we're done with our light coats. I got my flashlight so I can check and make sure that I've got good coverage everywhere. So you see a little tiny piece of lint or whatever that landed on the wheel
Tack cloth.
while I was painting? Well, I want to get that out of there. I'm not just gonna go scraping at it. This is exactly what that tack cloth is for. I'm gonna wipe that right out of there. And otherwise, we're looking pretty
I
good.
remember I spent years painting things before I learned what a tack cloth was and why it was important.
Okay, let's make sure we get this thing
That's what
covered.
happens when you teach yourself things. If you don't get all the instructions and you just kind of go, well, it said to do this, I guess I'll do that, not understanding the why behind it, yeah, you can miss some details sometimes.
All right, we've got a fully bronzed wheel here. Now the last thing to do is put some clear coat on it. Now this is a matte clear coat, so it's not gonna be glossy at the end of this, but I still wanna get a nice, thick, protective layer of clear coat on my paint. Whoa.
Jesus, dude.
I think that's shook. Okay, so now what we're gonna do
Properly
is 2
shook.
medium coats and then 1 relatively heavy coat. Now with, the spokes and everything, I might have to split that up, but that's what we're gonna do, about 5 minutes in between coats. Well, this can is a little bit leaky. That might have something to do with me dropping it, not quite sure. But it does spray pretty well, and the first coat's done. So we'll give that 5 minutes, and do it again.
It definitely has something to do with it.
Second medium coat done, looking pretty good. 1 thicker coat left.
I feel like I can breathe those fumes from here. It's just, oof.
And then we're done.
Jesus, dude. That's a very expensive leak.
Hey, we did it, and it looks pretty good, almost like new. Now the only thing we gotta do is let this thing dry. We're gonna let it dry overnight, then tomorrow I'll put the tire back on, put it on the car, and we'll take a good hard look at it. I can't wait. Long day.
That's so uncomfortable. Now it feels like a segue's coming.
It's time. Who changed my clothes?
Looks pretty good. And it's all cured up, nice and hard. Oh, it's gonna be super well protected for a long time to come. And man, it looks almost like a new wheel. If you really get nitpicky, you can see a few little blemishes left, but I'm not getting that nitpicky. For just about a day's worth of work, we took this wheel from beat to hell to looks pretty well.
I'm actually super impressed.
Thank you. Now, how much did it cost to go from this to this specifically? Well, let's talk about it. So I used about a half a can of primer on this wheel.
Mattress Firm. Use code DONUT for a free pillow. God damn it, try it today.
And the can of primer was 24 bucks, so we'll call that 12 bucks. I used about a can and a half of bronze spray paint, and that was, I think, 12 or 13 bucks a can, so we'll call it 20 bucks to paint one wheel.
Oh, it looks nice.
Then I used a whole can of that clear coat, which was $32. So that puts us at 64 bucks. So 64 bucks in paint, and then figure, you know, 5, 10, 15 bucks a wheel for supplies, depending on what you already have laying around. And that said, you can do this for a lot cheaper. You could probably do it for about half that price if you used lower quality spray paints. So it's not exactly cheap at 65 bucks a wheel, but it's a lot cheaper than a new wheel or paying someone else to do it. But the biggest cost is in your time. I mean, it took me a full 8 hours to get this one wheel done. And depending on what your time's worth, that might be a lot of money. So it's not gonna happen without pouring in a bunch of elbow grease and some money. But when you do that, you'll have a nice looking set of wheels and you'll come out of it with a new skill or two. I hope you learned a couple skills today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, well, consider punching that like button right in the face. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button too. And you can go follow me on Instagram at Zach Jobe, and you can follow Donut at Donut Media while you're there.
Bam.
I'll see you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can get a wheel powder coat for $150. That's what I did when I got my wheels. I powder coated them to a color that I wanted since I couldn't get them in the color I wanted initially. And yeah, not cheap, but at the same time, I felt like in the end it was worth it. Just, you know, considering what your time's worth, and some people, I think for like a high school kid who's got a car that's like deliberately kind of a beater, they don't want to spend too much money on it, but they do have some extra free time laying around, like that's a great thing to get into. But if you're an adult who has things to do, people to see, places to go, maybe it's not necessarily for you. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not going to speak to it necessarily, but for my money, you're getting close enough. I would probably just pay a shop like we have here, a place called Hubcap Annie. 8 hours on one wheel is insane. Yeah, I mean, that's because he was trying to do a good job. I imagine there are many people out there who could do it faster, but for questionable quality. Whereas if I go and take it to the local shop that I know is going to do a good job, get it for about 120 bucks a wheel. If you're just doing like color and not much else, that's pretty simple. But yeah, powder coating, in my mind, is going to hold up better necessarily than spray paint will also. But 2K clear is tough stuff. I mean, no fault there. I think it's good, but yeah, it's not for everybody. That's fine. All right, moving along there. I was just curious to see the breakdown, but now we know. Let's see here. What do we have? Yeah, Desert Fanatics. How to repaint your wheels. Step 1, make friends with a powder coater. Step 2, reap the benefits. The cynical side in me says, yep. I got Dane's Twitch to watch. I ain't fixing no wheels. Some shops usually run $400 a set specials for straight black. Well, yeah, no, if you're just interested in having black wheels, then I'm sure that's a very easy way to do it. Personally, black wheels aren't my thing, but I understand it if somebody wants to go that route. But yeah, as soon as you do any kind of like masking and you want to have different, layers or pieces or something, it gets a little more complicated. But if you're just doing like one solid color, usually not too bad. But they usually charge at like powder coating places. They'll charge more if you want to have like some kind of clear on top, things like that. Because when I got my wheels turned bronze powder coated for the Jag, and they were Advanti Racing Caminos, big skinny 5 spokes, and when I had those, I painted them bronze through powder coating, but I had them do like this extra glossy, super like deep finish kind of thing, and that cost an extra like, I don't know, $60 a wheel or something. It wasn't cheap, but at the same time I was like, I'm only going to do this once, so I might as well do it the way I want. And yeah, in the end I was happy with it. Actual solution: Plastidip, bro. You don't even have to take them off your car. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and then there's that. Yeah, Plastidip is wonderful in the hands of like somebody who's really good at working with Plastidip. It can be incredibly convincing sometimes. But in the hands of the average user who sees those finished products and goes, oh my God, I can't wait to be a person who does that, and they try and do it, it always looks worse. And it always looks like garbage after about a week. In every single case, they just look sad. Just like really, it looks like like if you had single stage wheel paint that just sat outside for 20 years. That's what a Plastidip, wheel looks like if it's a black wheel or something after about a week and a half or a month or so. If you go for a year like that, oh boy, they're going to look bad. Unless you take care of them. But even if you take care of them, I don't see them necessarily being that nice anymore. Not really. My Titan 7 wheels cost me $1,200 to have done. Brushed candy bronze. Yeah, $800 was just the brushwork. Yeah, I can see that. The brush stuff is crazy, so yeah. No, in the end, my wheels on the Jag, to powder coat them and to have them like fully, glossed up, clear, all that stuff. I didn't have them brushed, but yeah, no, it ran me about, I want to say it was in the vein of like $820, $850. It was a lot. Like it was a lot, but at the same time, it just was what it was. I really liked them. So, I only did it once. I don't plan on doing it again. Fucking VW. Wonder if you can get them cheap at a high school body shop class for practice on wheels. You're not going to go ballistic on the 80 to 85% perfection result. Yeah. And it would still save me time. I'd be down with that. Like if I was doing the wheels on my van, for example, I wouldn't be half as concerned about the overall, perfection involved. Whereas on the Jag, I do kind of care. But on the van, it's going to be a rough vehicle anyway. It's meant to be just like a go around, do stuff vehicle. It's got wear and tear. It's fine. $600. He had the math wrong there. Ah, okay. Addressing PPE in the first comment is nice. Yes. Donuts should do a tool series, like how to shop for the right things, when it's okay to go cheap, etc. If we'll watch them. Okay. Hey guys, it's Zach. I wanted to point out you should always be wearing a proper respirator while painting. Yes. There you go. I wasn't thinking it should have been. I'm setting an example for a lot of you guys. I promise to do better than personal protect. Wow, that's actually really nice and thoughtful of them. So that's cool. Good. Let's take a look at. Oh, we should watch. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's watch a frickin' Buick Reatta get fixed from the dead. Oh my god, the interior. Holy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Brent, and today we have a really satisfying video for you. Now, the backstory on this car and how it got to be in this condition. First of all, if you didn't know, we live in Cleveland, Ohio, so we have some crazy winters. And if you guys have seen the video we did on the Disaster Viper, this car also belongs to Matt's family. It is his father-in-law's, and this car was sitting in their yard for the last at least 22 years. The last time it was plated was in 2000, and when we went there to originally look at it, I'll even put a picture on the screen. As you can see right here, the wheels were
Dude, it's like getting sucked into the ground.
Sunk into the ground. That's how long it was sitting in the same place. So sit back and relax, because the pressure washing alone is one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen. But if you're confused why we're posting on a Saturday, let me take a second and explain. We decided to change our upload dates to Saturdays from now on instead of Fridays, because we didn't want to compete with the other big channels. A couple other channels that are bigger than us are posting on Fridays at 9 a.m. like we were for the last 2 years, and we feel like it's affecting our channel. So we're going to be switching to Saturdays at 9 a.m. just so you guys are aware. But lastly,
I have so many thoughts on when you reach a certain level that you have to give programming notes about. We changed our schedule because we felt like we were running against primetime hours for these other channels and stuff. The thing is, and I realize it's different for everybody, but if you're that concerned with it, yes, you could take that route, or you could continue to release on there and just understand that people who are interested in the other one are probably also interested in yours, and people can choose to then watch both of those back to back, or at least save them, watch for a later time. I don't see why you wouldn't just keep releasing if the dates were working for you, but you felt like it was affecting you. So I don't know. I just find that fascinating. They actually felt the need to like address it to the audience. Like,
some of you guys might not be subscribed to the
What a
channel.
great
because
problem
only about
to have,
10%
though, huh?
of our viewers are actually subscribed. So take a second and check that you are, and if you're
I'm not bitter.
hit the subscribe button. And with all that being said, let's hop into the detail while I ask the question of the videos. So leave your answers in the comments below. I want to know why you guys watch detailing videos. For me, I started watching them before RJ and I even had this channel, and that's why I got into detailing, if you guys didn't know that. And I did because it helped my anxiety a lot. So I'm curious why you guys watch it. Are you looking for tips and tricks? Does it help your mental health in any kind of way? Leave your answers.
Yeah, Yoshi, in my own personal research, I found that Fridays are like the worst day to release a video, period. Barring whatever time you choose to let it out at. 9 a.m. is a popular choice for most channels, according to TubeBuddy, the plugin I use on YouTube. Gives suggestions on things you can do. But yeah, no, as far as that goes, it's strange. I don't know what to say about that whole thing. It's just mentioning it to the audience is one thing where it's like, okay, did they need to know that? I mean, I guess if you're giving them programming notes, they know when to tune in so they can check the stuff out. But you figure, like with videos, it just shows the mindset behind videos where certain creators who make this stuff for the sole purpose of getting those views and building the audience and stuff, rather than necessarily, I'm not saying in this case, but it feels like when you do that stuff, you're saying, in lieu of the fact that I'm doing this detailing stuff because I like it or I love it, I'm also interested in the, viewership we get. And of course, who isn't? But I value the views I get in the short time span that this video is viable to a broader range of people. I value that more than I value just doing it to do it and put it out there. It is very clearly a business model for him. So it's like the actual detail business is secondary, and the videos are key, where they have to be strategic about it rather than just releasing it and hoping for the best. You could be smart about it, but it's always interesting like how strategic this stuff gets. I don't know. What do you guys think? But for me, I found that actual like weekend releases tend to do pretty decent, or early in the week releases do well. We find our live streams, even though we do our live streams, like our live details and stuff, on like Wednesdays in the afternoon, Wednesdays are not a good day to release videos, we've found, at least on our channel. It's kind of been the case. But yeah, I don't know. You get into the whole like YouTube back end stuff. Not everybody wants to have that conversation. It can be kind of dull for some, but man, if you're in this industry, excuse me, it's a real thing. It's a real concern. You're constantly thinking about it.
There's down below.
And I'll tell you what, like off of my day job's YouTube channel, you are not making a living off of that back end, I promise you. Like, people think YouTube videos make so much money, but most YouTubers who do this stuff are not, they're not making a ton of money off the video itself, unless you're in like massive levels. Anything below 150,000 subscribers, and you're probably only getting like pretty basic baseline level stuff, like just enough to get by, but not really crazy excelling or anything like that. But it definitely grows from there. If you're in like the 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, okay, you're really solid, you know, especially amongst detailing channels, because after a certain point, it seems like detailing channels usually hit a threshold of around 200,000 to 300,000 subscribers these days. The channels that are bigger than that either started way before then, or yeah, I mean, a lot of that was like starting before then, but they just kind of hit a ceiling of like who's willing to watch. But like legacy channels that have been around a long time, the Chemical Guys, the Larrys, stuff like that, they're bigger because they grew at a time when YouTube was better at building channels, frankly, and they just had time on their side. And the content had to be good to keep them relevant all that time, but it was definitely not just because of the content itself. It had a lot to do with the environment that they were in before. Whereas now, like, I'm impressed with how many big detailing channels I found, but it was not the case. If you go back even like 5 or 6 years, the landscape looks so different. So different. Release videos at 420 of any day for the highest views. Yes. Whatever time you release a video, Humberto will always be first. I'm convinced he's a robot. Alex, he just pays attention. But like, he gets notifications so frickin' fast, it's insane. Here's the closing music track to our podcast. We don't use this song anymore, or we do, but we won't be in the near future. We got some new stuff coming. Got pretty used to it for a while, but Glenn's been working on some new stuff.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Oh,
we just want to take a second to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Nooms. And
it's Noom.
Personal.
Okay.
When I see my person, when I don't that access this new Noom, you can feature the water 30 seconds to get essentially dry.
If you've got brands like that helping you with this stuff, it's very clear that your YouTube channel is a business every bit as much as your business is a business. That's interesting. New sounds of Glenn serenading sea bass. Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. Something different, I know that. Very different from the current arrangement, but just have to wait and see. Now, when it comes to disaster details, though, the white cars that tend to show the biggest transformation, obviously, because they show all the crap that's on them. But when it comes to polishing videos, people get mad if you do anything other than a black car or some dark colored car so they can see the scratches and swirls. Then they demand you shine a light on it, etc., etc. I get it. Oh my god, this hood is atrocious. Question though, did he pre-spray that with anything? I feel like he did. I guess I just didn't see it. Sprayed down the other parts. No, and then it was the sponsor, and then it was that. So is it just pressure washer cutting through here? Or, yeah, okay, Yoshi, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was looking at. I was like, it bothers me they don't use a pre-soak before rinsing. That's why I was confused, because I was looking and waiting for the pre-soak. Like, what you going to put on there? No, he just goes straight on with the pressure washer. I'm like, wait, did I miss something? Did he already go do that? But no, nowhere previous in the video does he spray it with anything prior. He just goes in with, like, brute force with the pressure washer. It seems like a waste of time, though. Finally, a dirty car. Get the fuck out, Charles. For real, there's nothing more annoying. Like, if your sole goal is to be an annoying person, just go right on any detailing video, not a dirty car. Doesn't matter what video it is or how true the statement is. Just say it. If you really want to just annoy somebody, that is prime troll material and always will be, unfortunately. But yeah, no, Yoshi, why is he not spraying some kind of pre-soak on this before just going in with the pressure washer? Because that's time If you're a business, time is money. Why are you wasting time trying to cut through it just with the pressure washer when you could have spent a little bit of money on chemical and spray it down ahead of time to ensure that you get the cut you need when you're going through? I just don't understand that. Like, yeah, it's cutting through pretty well, but you're either using an extremely high PSI at the risk of damaging paint, or I don't know, man. Maybe he just pre-soaked it and he didn't show it in the footage. Drop that snake oil, baby. Wow. I mean, hey, it makes for a remarkable before and after. I will give him that, but come on. Yoshi, you're absolutely right. Detailing channels swung the complete opposite direction from detailing clean cars to disaster details because they got tired of the comments. This is retribution. Yeah, no, I think there was definitely some element of that combined with the sudden, like, popularity of satisfying videos. I think it started a lot with, like, people who started posting, like, on Reddit and stuff, the pressure washer porn videos where people go out and, like, clean a dirty, you know, patio or deck or something and just show, like, the before and after of using a pressure washer on it. Then detailers making videos caught on, like, oh shit, people really love this before or after thing. I mean, why do you think 50/50s are so popular as far as, like, Facebook fodder for, like, pictures and stuff? If it's not a moving image on a detailer's channel, it's probably either a regular before and after or it's a 50/50. That's usually the case, I would imagine. But anyway, I have a lot of thoughts on the subject. Been at this for a while, guys. My channel's still sub 100,000, so yeah. F the disaster details. Make a video with the owner saying, how the fuck you let this happen? I mean, that one's pretty clear. Based on how much this is freaking cutting through, though, I am very curious what PSI this pressure washer is. Because I don't recognize the wand on it, if somebody knows. I mean, I can see the degree of nozzle on it. It looks somewhat narrow, but it's still got a decent fan. But the way it cuts, I mean, it is just slicing through this stuff. So either... Well, but it looks dry. Like, how could he have pre-soaked it with anything if it looks dry? I don't get that. Finding center caps will cost more than the car. True! Here we go. Oh, boy. Yep. Oh, God. The door was open on the van. No. Yuck. That's how these are born. That's what I'm waiting for. When it gets the interior. Oh, that's an interesting point, Alex. It could be hot water. And it's still not a perfect answer, but it's an answer. Yeah. And if that was the case, yeah, I'd be wearing gloves too. Just because look at what you're dealing with. That's Alaskan landscaping. TRC want to rescue a van from Alaska? Dude, I grew up in an Astro van. No joke. I was a child of the late 80s. Spent most of my time growing up in the 90s, of course, but when I came around, the family had an 80s Astro van. Save your childhood, Dane. I'm guessing my childhood Astro van was a little nicer than the one you're talking about, though. Okay, I'm about to go off on a little detour here. We'll keep watching the video, but now I need to find, let's see, 1988 Chevy Astro van, black, blue. Let's see if I can find it. It was very similar to, I guess, this one. Different wheels, though. It had different wheels. But yeah, it was essentially the 80s Astrovan. So, you know, boxy upright thing, but it was a great little van for what it was. Yep, that's the vintage I saw yesterday. Uh-huh. Yep. Anyway, back to the video. Well, maybe somebody does need to save that van. I just don't know. No, I don't know if it'll be us. All right, coming up on hour 2 here. Apologize, I forgot to run the ad earlier, so that's on me. But just giving you a heads up, I'm going to run this. If you don't like seeing ads, I don't blame you. Nobody likes seeing ads. But there's going to be a 60-second ad break happening now. The way you can avoid it is by obviously subscribing if you want to do that. Or you can use your Amazon Prime subscription if you would like to use something that you have built in for free. It's easy to do. Anyway, that ad break is coming up now. An original OG Mosmatic wand. Yeah, I could see that. I was looking at this door trying to figure out if the alignment on the door was just really messed up or if it had one of those silly door ding guard things tucked into it. I think that's just a door ding guard thing. But yeah, no, it almost looked like it had been like pushed in too far or something. But then the trim up above didn't look like that, so that didn't make sense why it would look that way. We can remove this stuff from the paint, but you can't do a lot for the fact that you have paint that's just not there anymore. Here comes the foam. Classic copyright free tropical house music. Here we go. Some slow motion of foam and bubbles because that's what YouTube loves. GM White loves to flake off. Yes, it does, Yoshi. Yes, it does. Even still, that paint is less of a pain in the ass than the black paint on the newer GM trucks. My God, have I heard the horror stories. Whew. Yeah, that's a lot of exposed primer and or bare metal there on the front, but a little spray will do a lot for that, I think.
So when washing the door jambs, you weren't too worried about any water getting in the car because that's not a big deal when you're taking everything out anyways. And the paint on this car was not going to be saved. It was in way too bad of condition and too far gone. So instead of polishing it for a few hours, we went ahead and covered it in a ceramic spray just to give it some shine and protection before moving on to the interior.
Okay. I mean, I get it on one hand, but it just... Oh, the idea of covering that with ceramic anything just seems... Ugh. Oh, the interior. Oh, boy. So they're going to pull everything out. I'm curious to see what everything is. Okay, the mats. The seats, presumably. And no decon. Huh. Isn't that crazy, Yoshi? I felt like I was taking crazy pills. Are we both just sitting here watching the same thing going, wait, you missed a step? There's a lot of crap coming through here. Missed opportunity for iron bloody nastiness. True! Some iron remover would do a lot. I wonder what's in those little access hatches under there. Is that maybe where the car battery is stored, or just access to wiring harnesses, or maybe a CD changer or something? Or are they actual little cargo holds? They have locks on them. That's why it's interesting. I think I know why he's seeing his viewer count going down. Oh no, Yoshi. I mean, Yoshi, it's all relative though. If my viewer count was going down and I averaged like around 750,000 to 1 million views per video, if it goes down by like 10 or 20,000 views, I don't really notice that nearly as much. But boy, do I notice it when I'm lucky if I get 10,000 views on a video in the first place. $10 on no respirator for the molded urine. I don't know, I'm looking for the face, but it's been blocked. Hidden. I mean, he's wearing gloves, so it's got that base covered. Because that interior just looks like biohazard. You gotta spray some stuff on those carpets, though. You can't just vacuum them, that's for sure. Whoa, hold on. Yeah, that's an exposed face. Oh no, Dan, I know. There are definitely more biohazardy ones out there. But the point remains. You, Mr. Guy, who calls out anybody for not having PPE at any time, should fully be on the side of he should have PPE here. When he's working on some of those seats, that center console, that stuff looked bad.
And this is definitely the grossest.
Okay, it was the steering wheel for me. The steering wheel was the real clue. Like, what the hell?
Steering wheel that we've ever cleaned. And if you guys don't follow us on Instagram or TikTok, we post a lot of real.
Okay, see, here's the thing. When you steam that and the stuff seemingly just disappears, where do you think that goes? I'll leave that up to the chat to decide.
Really satisfying clips in shorter form, so go follow us there. All
see, listen to him say, he's like, so go.
Really satisfying clips in shorter form, so go follow us there. All the links are in the description below.
Hey, there's a nice steering wheel hidden under all that. Who'd have thunk? He's got the jams, though. I'll give him that. Hey. Yeah, for me, it was mostly the center console and the steering wheel that looked ultra nasty. Dirt goes to Emmett. Yeah. FYI, Emmett is spelled E-T, not I-T. Just saying. Emmert. I mean, yeah, when you say it with the accent, that's more or less what it sounds like. Also, Emmett is where you will find the infamous, not to dive too deeply into politics here, but that's where you would find Ammon Bundy, or some people call him Almond Bundy, who is probably better known as one of the guys who did that whole Oregon Malheur Reserve takeover of like a government building out there, which was kind of crazy. So he's got his own things going on, but that's Emmett for you. He's not even from here. Yoshi, see that? At least he has a Viper chair. I mean, he had to invest in the right things. He made some good choices. I'll give him that. Alex, don't feel bad for misspelling it. I just laugh when I see it spelled IT because it makes me think of Kermit the Frog. just his more rednecky cousin, Emmett the Frog. Of course, we're going to get a little 50-50 on the old center console here. Delicious. And then for good measure, we steam the ever-loving shit out of it. There we go. Nice. I mean, you had the 50-50, but you didn't take the time to actually show the 50-50. Yeah, Dan. It's great fun. Great fun. Oh, that center console looks a lot better. Oof. Look how much... Look at these plastic... Look how much they flex. Just look at what was acceptable in terms of build quality. GM. Never change. It's just like... That crooked door up in front of the shifter there. Everything moves so much. It's like panel removal is really easy. Man, if you're changing stereos on like W and G bodies, easy peasy. My guy doesn't use the plentiful of discount codes to save that dough. Now this is interesting. I just noticed something. This is more like YouTube insider nerdery, but I noticed down in his description box down here, he actually takes his title for the video and repeats it for the first line of his description, not including the little sponsor post that's above that, but that's interesting because, yeah, YouTube pays attention to a few key factors. Number one, what you title your video, that's obvious. Your thumbnail has differing degrees of how much it grabs people too. But another thing they look for is like keywords that reflect your video that can be found in the first paragraph of your YouTube video description, which very few people actually read the description, but YouTube definitely reads it, and it definitely pays attention to help with the whole search engine optimization aspect of that. But then, in addition to that, it also pays close attention to what you say in your videos. And the best example of somebody who knows exactly what to say in their videos in a very particular way to maximize their way they fit into the algorithm, Doug DeMuro is a good example. Some people get annoyed when he repeats himself so often, or he says very particular like phrases, and they're like, oh, he's so predictable. He's doing it because he knows the algorithm used to, at least, pay attention to the things you said and whether they matched up with what the title and the description of the video said. Because YouTube was smart enough to detect like certain words that were spoken in a video, and that helped, you know, for whatever reason. But whether that's true or not anymore, I don't know. I just know that was true as of at least 2 or 3 years ago. Nice atomization freeze frame, yes. My first car was a 93 Cutlass. I can attest to the ease of stereo install, yeah. Although I think they deserve some credit for having red, and in my car's case, blue interiors in mass market cars. A far cry from the beiges and grays everyone else has. True, very true. Granted, how many people want those still these days? It varies. I was always a fan of like a nice, bright colored interior, something like that, something fun. I definitely enjoyed that, but it really depended on the vehicle though. Like if you had a very bland colored vehicle on the outside with a cool color interior, I was down with that. Like this with the white with the red interior, I like that. It, you know, as far as combos go, it ain't bad. Could be a lot worse. But now everybody is just so like neutrals. I want a gray car with a black interior, etc. You know, nothing too flashy. Wouldn't want to, you know, call attention to myself or anything. Why I decided to start a Twitch stream, you know, the anonymity of it. And it's a drill brush. Man, I was just waiting for somebody to crack out the old drill brush. Yeah, my cord is white with the blue interior. Absolutely love the blue. That's right, Yoshi. It's awesome when you can have very like neutral colored outside with a cool color inside. That's neat. That's fun. Red with the red interior, stock and gray color combo. Another fun one. My Cutlass was the same color combo. Yeah. Well, like for example, I work with Gabe, you know, he has his classic 89 4Runner, you know, the second gen 4Runner, and that thing is this really kind of deep, rich, burgundy, reddish color, kind of like this, but it has this red interior. It's more red than this Riata is inside. It's really, really red, but it's like mint, absolute mint. His fun claim to fame is the fact that he outbid Wayne Carini for that particular 4Runner on an auction site, so that's fun. Watch HOAs ban vehicles that are too obnoxious.
And to finish up the detail, the last...
On one hand, I get why HOAs exist, but on the other hand, I hate them.
Things that we did
I
were
hate
clean
them.
the windows and dress everything with a leather
Let
conditioner.
people live
That
their
way it becomes
lives.
soft and supple again, and it also would help avoid
Within
cracking.
most
And with
reasons.
that,
Yeah, the problem is, it's the classic case of like, the people who want to be the leaders are the ones who really shouldn't be the leaders. And the people who are the reluctant leaders, that's the dream, but it's very rare you actually get those. In terms of HOAs, it's almost always the worst, most annoying people who wind up in positions of power.
Detail was complete, and if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel.
I like that you have to ask, does Alaska have HOAs? Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. HOAs should only exist for maintenance and community amenities. Yeah, that's how like my previous neighborhood that I lived in with my first house, they had an HOA, but it was like HOA in name only. They barely did anything else. All they really did was collect money one time a year to help fund like a well that they had and just cover the maintenance on that. That was it. Karens and Chads. Ironically enough, people named Karen are actually nice. Are we just painting with a broad brush in a popular sense now, in a positive sense? All right, well, I felt like we got something out of that anyway. It was nice, productive conversation. That's why I like these videos. Even if we're not talking about the direct subject matter, they usually spur some other kind of conversation too. It's fantastic that they have a contract which shovels my driveway for me and hauls snow away. Oh boy, do I wish I had that for my driveway, because woof, my driveway is pretty much designed to be a nightmare in the winter. And I have no HOA where I live now, because I'm in one of those much older neighborhoods that are cool and built into the foothills of the city here. So, you know, you get the aesthetic pluses, you don't get the annoying HOA stuff, but I do have a very long driveway that's rather steep in places, and snow and ice make that a little treacherous. Yeah. For some reason, I've only taken a small liking to Larry's disaster details. That's okay. I think Larry, like, I've talked to him a few times whenever he comes by our booth at SEMA and stuff. I never bring it up, but I noticed, yeah, with a lot of his stuff, it seems like the ones that perform well, it's kind of predictable. It's the disaster stuff. However, I've noticed, like, if you're a channel who doesn't do disaster details, you do other detailing stuff, like in my day job, we'd occasionally, like, try and throw, like, an idea of a disaster detail out there, and people didn't really respond to it the way you think they would. Like, they're not inclined to want to watch that unless the channel has been built foundationally around that concept. In the case of Larry's, I think he found that it just happened to catch him at the right time and they were interested. And then it kind of became a game where you keep producing more. He still does other stuff. I'm happy to see that. But the disaster details seem to occupy most of the more popular elements of his channel now. But as a detailing channel, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if you're not in the disaster detail business, but you're doing like tutorials and how-tos. It's okay to repeat yourself once, every year or two. You can make the same video again slightly differently and you'll reach a new audience. It's just how YouTube works. So I'm never mad if you end up repeating a video, if it makes sense. If it's low effort, I'm not as interested, but for the most part, if you do it, more power to you. Day in your driveway is an 8th mile hill climb. No, for real, like somebody could definitely do some sweet like rally car climb on my hill. But see, I hate that. They also get mad if you have your grill out past 15th of October. Ugh. That's the annoying aspect. It's like, who cares? Your grill's out. So what? I have a grill on my back deck. Put a cover on it. It gets snowed on. Fine. Whatever. Move on. It survives. It's not getting hurt. It's okay. Yeah, so that's that. Why don't we mix things up a little bit here? Why don't we look at tell you what. You guys want to watch a old junky Game Boy get restored? I mean, it's detailing, but it's a little bit of different flavor of detailing. This is like small consumer electronic detailing. They have specified the shades of beige your curtains could be. Oh my God, make it stop. I hate that. See, those are the kind of little nitpicky, Karen-y things that just make me want to wring their neck. Okay, so why do they have the right to invade your privacy by looking in your backyard? That's ridiculous. Exactly, Yoshi. No, the house that my parents moved into, they're in a neighborhood now where they moved out of their old house that was like my, not childhood home, but like my teenage childhood home, and grew up there in the early 2000s and loved that house for the longest time. But then they moved into this new place and now they have an HOA where they have to literally account for the color of like the Traeger in your backyard. Apparently a neighbor had a green, a big green egg or whatever that is, the smoker thing. And they didn't like it because it was green. It had to be black like the other smokers or else they'd complain about it. It's like, oh my God, that type of stuff. I could never handle that. I swear, like if I ever have enough money to like make my own baller house somewhere someday, I'm going to do it in a place like where I currently am on a hillside with no HOA where I can make my own rules and that's fine. And everybody lives happily ever after and nobody bothers anybody else and it's fine. So quiet. Yeah, Game Boy. That thing is yellowed so much. It must have been sitting out in the sun or something. Just bleached. But not even bleached. Like, the yellowing is different. DMG01. Oh, the front side is slightly yellow. Slightly yellow. It is very yellow. Dan, you want to get gravel mix and fertilizer spreader. The gravel mix should have a salt coating to help it melt into the snow and ice. Surprised I let the Miata in. Don't think it's some go-kart. A friend has a Miata chopped into a cart. I plan to drive it around my neighborhood. Dan, is that an Exocet by chance? HOA, huge organization of assholes. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about those. Like, I'm all for, like, well-designed bureaucracies and, like, certain institutions and stuff. I'm fine with that. Like, if it actually functions like it's supposed to, that's great. But HOAs are just the devil's creation. House and a shop on 5 acres, no more than that. That's fine, Yoshi. That sounds great. Me, I like having a hillside. I like having a view, but I would like to have a flat area on that hill where I could, have a shop and like a big driveway out front. That would be nice. Contrast wheel doesn't do anything either. I remember when I had a Game Boy that looked like that, and it functioned about the same. This guy's gonna fix it up, though, apparently. I really enjoy the macro photography aspect of this. We're getting to some tiny photography here. This is basically ASMR, but for some people who hate ASMR, this is probably a more satisfying version of that. Ah, Dan. Okay, I see. It's not an exocet. Chassis with the roll cage and welded bash bar. Okay. Functionally, it's pretty similar, though. Let's see, I would be so paranoid about pulling on that. Like, I guess it's fine, but to me, I would just be like, I'm going to tear something. I'm going to break something. I can't touch it. I don't want to touch it. Oh. How have there no I'm offended people with HOAs or other complainers the ones who can't afford the homes in those areas? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like to see a good mix, you know? I'm happy to see that there are neighborhoods that have HOAs and that kind of stuff, and then others that don't. They seem to have a way of coexisting, being just fine. But oftentimes it just comes down to the area. And the area dictates the pricing a lot of times, too. Like, you could have a ridiculous fancy house, but if it's out in the middle of nowhere where nobody wants to live anyway, really, except for certain people, then, yeah, that's their own prerogative. But for me, I like living in closer proximity to amenities and things, but I like feeling like I'm not too close. So I like being close to the urban atmosphere, but at the same time, I like being up in the hills, just shy of that, where I can get there quickly, but I can also feel like I'm in a whole different place when I'm up at my house. That's the vibe. And I think Dan and Tony can both attest to that, feeling that way. When you're up at my house, it feels like you're in the woods. This video is sponsored by iFixit. Use the $6 Amazon Mini Kit. I swear to the drunk officer, I'm not God. There was a house on a hilly side of the local lake here on about 2 or 3 acres. Would have loved to help on that, but it was outside my budget. Yeah, I mean, that's hard. You're talking about 2 to 3 acres and lakeside property. That's going to be pricier, even if it is in a not desirable, you know, otherwise area. If it's waterfront property, it's going to be more. When you're buying a house, is the HOA advertised like it's public knowledge or catches you by surprise when you buy a house once you're in one? Alex, it depends on how you're shopping for a house. Most of the time when I'm doing my research, I'll be looking around at most of the realtor type websites like realtor.com or Zillow or, you know, Redfin or whatever you're using. Most of them, or HomeSnap, which is actually an interesting one that I've come across more recently. They tend to say in the listing whether or not a house is part of an HOA or not. It's a suburb area, but still remote enough that it's not too bad. Yeah, they'll have it in the statistics specs of the actual property, whether or not it's an HOA. Now, what I can't attest to is the quality of that information. Yes, it's part of the MLS, the multi-listing service, but sometimes that info can be wrong or out of date, something along those lines. Because when I bought my first house, it said it was not an HOA home. And that was one of the things that drew me to it, because I was like, oh, good. I've only heard bad things about HOA. I realize I'm only in my early 20s, but even I know at this point, I don't want to be in an HOA. Then I bought the house and found out, oh, there is an HOA, but it's kind of an HOA in name only. And it doesn't actually do a lot of the things that I thought would be annoying about an HOA. They literally just do it for well water, and that was it, and like irrigation water, and that was the whole thing. It's like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. Then that was fine. So they had one, but it was like very minor compared to some of these other ones that are like overbearing mini governments in your neighborhood. Like, you can't have that trash can out past that date. Don't leave cars in your driveway. That trailer is so ugly. I'm going to tow it if you don't move it. Those little grimy buttons. Clean those bad boys. Like a little surgical tray. We're operating on this thing today. These are satisfying, though. I like this. Anchorage market is such that I could either afford a good townhouse or a craptastic single-family home. Yeah. But it's funny, a home with an HOA versus a home without an HOA, either one could be highly appealing to a specific subset of people. Like, one is not more desirable than the other. It's just a matter of who you're marketing to. Well, yeah, Dan, in your case, there's actually bears where you're gonna drag bears. Now I'm just thinking of the frickin' Sex Panther cologne from Anchorman. I have to ask, though, are you guys enjoying watching this? Because I find it fascinating just seeing how things work. That's always been something for me. Even if I have zero desire to ever actually do it myself, I just like seeing it. But I understand that's not everybody's cup of tea. So taking a straw poll here, who feels like this is the kind of stuff you enjoy watching? If it isn't, I won't make you watch another one, but I just find it interesting. Oh, wow, that's like a gasket or a seal. Gonna give it like a chemical bath, maybe? I guess the part that's most interesting to me is like knowing how to take all this stuff apart without damaging it so that you can then put it all back together again. There we go. Yep. Gonna get a little chemical bath. Time to wash the parts. Well, what are you pouring in there? It's frothy. It's soapy. Okay. I mean, I suppose on a plastic finish like that, you could scuff it pretty good before the problem. It's gonna take a lot more than that to remove that yellowing, though. However, all this work on a miniature scale does garner you quite a bit of resale value on the other end of it. If that's something you're interested in. Thanks, guy. Hydrogen peroxide bath. Ooh, okay. What we got going on here? Oh, I will remove the yellowing. I will link full tutorial to the description. UV lights. Okay. Hydrogen peroxide and UV lights. Just enough. All right. Huh. Wow. Okay. I'm waiting for a how-to basic freakout show any minute here, right? So I just start going insane. Gonna do a little soldering. Pop. Wonder what type of rust remover he's using. Yeah, this could very easily turn into a how-to basic, though. Just when you least expect it, suddenly. Just huge mess. Oh, that is satisfying. Oh, those look nice. Mover also nickel plating. It doesn't matter because it was already damaged. I will replate the pieces. Honestly, it looks kind of cool like that, though. A full little chemistry lab going on here. Nickel plating solution. What? We're gonna nickel plate it right now. Sledgehammer to everything. On nickel and okay. Just let it do its work. What was the point of the second beaker? Bringing the nickel back. Oh no. Alex, as our resident Canadian, I feel like you should apologize. And really going all out here. Huh. And the terminals are connected properly. Okay. No, apologizing for Nickelback because they're Canadian and he's a resident Canadian. And it's very Canadian to apologize for things. So it all just works its way out to be the perfect, you know. That's just like a little compressed air tool. Isopropyl alcohol. Mm-hmm. Damn it, Dan, not lead singer Chad. That's right. Isn't his name like Chad Kroger or something? His name is Chad Grocery Store. Man, this thing is looking nice. Soon to be Chad Albertsons, apparently, right? Ay, ay, ay. These mergers gotta stop at some point. We can't be ruled by all the same corporate overlords. That gets old fast. Yeah, Chad Kroger, yep. Well, the device starts, but there's no sound. So a connector needs to be worked on. Gotta do a little surgery. Yeah, Pokemon. At least he hasn't sold out to become Chad Amazon. I choose you, Chad Amazon. Cue the THX sound. They're from a hillbilly hick town 3 hours north of me. Name's Hannah. Yikes. Erosion between A and B. I might think the headphones are plugged in. That is such a tiny... Wow. Jeez. Now everything works, but the Game Boy screen is a bit hard to see, especially if it's dark. I'll do an upgrade. Man, oh man. That takes me back. Oh, love playing though. Ooh. Ooh. Nice, we got a polarizing filter on there. Backlight panel. Okay. Well, this is gonna be cool. You can do all this with the existing hardware that's already in there, huh? I mean, I'm sure it's a lower draw than whatever they were using to light the screen before. Huh. Polarizer? Wow. Okay, this is some definitely fine-tuned work here. Okay. Okay. Be so stressed trying to do this if I only had one shot to get it right. Look at this photograph. Makes me want to take a toaster into the bath. Oh God. Uh-huh. There we go. Yeah, you gotta make sure your orientation is correct on there before you go throwing it on there. The excess. Very fine-tuned instrument here. This is the kind of stuff my brother would totally do, though. Me, I like knowing the stuff that's going on in there, but when it comes to like actually working on it, I'd just be terrified I'd screw it up. Polarized, Polaroid. Look at this photograph. Ooh. That's a cool cable tool. I like that. That's a lot nicer than the other ones I've seen. It just grabs it straight on and pulls it out that way. That's actually really cool. Simple as just soldering it onto the panel there. I need to turn the polarizer 90 degrees to invert the colors because I will add bivert chip. It inverts the colors for better contrast, so the colors will end up looking normal. Oh my God. See, this is where I would definitely screw it up. I get all that stuff done and I'd end up just accidentally flipping it. So you'd say the tool has a great pullout game. Yeah, I'm complimenting its pullout game. Okay, yeah, Yoshi. I was actually really fascinated by it because I haven't seen a wire stripping tool that does the action the way this one did. Yeah, so it's this one here. So rather than the normal, like, go in from the side and drag it off that way, like chomp down and then drag it off that way, this one, you would set the measurement on the side there. It looks like it's an adjustable, from the side tool, and then you go straight onto it, and then it grabs it, and it just strips it by doing it forward rather than from the side, And it's just a different way of doing it, but it looks like it'd be way more accurate, way more often. I don't know. I just like the way the action of it looked cool. And it looked like it'd be less likely to accidentally, damage the wire. Like I have done before when I tried doing wire stripping myself. Let me just solder the little boy on there and make sure get the contrast we want. Oh, that would be so stressful. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah, Yoshi. See? Oh, heck yeah, I like that. The ones I own have a little stripper, and I always end up with the tool backwards. Exactly. The way that one worked, I was like, holy shit, why don't I have one like that? That makes so much more sense, just like straight on. It almost looks like a hole punch tool, you know, like for paper, just punching holes. But it looks like that kind of shape, and it just functions. Yeah, like a little dragon mouth that goes over the wire and then pulls it. Self-adjusting wire stripper. Oh, okay. So this is the tool then, huh? This one still looks like you do it from the side, though. Is that... Huh. Eh, 64 bucks ain't cheap, but this looks like, Huh. But the way his worked was, like, it clamps over it going forward, and then an independently moving part inside of it pulls in and strips the actual wire. Just interesting. I like that it's $63.87 each. Very specific. Good evening, late as usual. That's okay, Dave's Deflated Pool. You missed some interesting stuff for sure. However, right now we're watching a Game Boy that was really horrible shape get restored and then modified a little bit. So that's fascinating. Nice old school Game Boy. But we're mostly interested in some of the tools this guy's using. It's fascinating. Yeah, no worries, Alex. So courteous of them not to charge that extra 69 fraction of a cent. Oh, yeah, we got new ones of these. Oh, they're like new. That's nice. This is gonna be like a brand new Game Boy one. This, not just a fixed up one, but like a legit brand new one. There we go. Beautiful. That looks a whole heck of a lot better than it did originally. That'd be 69 hundredths of a cent. Very useful figure. And if not that, then at least a nice one. I wonder if it's a reproduction or an NOS. From what I could understand, he said this one was actually a legit original. Not a reproduction. Yeah, he said it's a DMG-01, which is apparently the part number for the original one. My first Game Boy was a Game Boy Pocket, though. Didn't look terribly new if it was old stock. Yeah. It definitely looked like it had lived a life. So I believe pretty well that it would have been an original Game Boy when it started. But by putting all these parts into it, I mean, it is better than when it was new. Plug in the band. Pins lined up. I was looking, I was like, what even are those batteries? I don't recognize that brand at all. So that's what it looked like when he brought it in. I mean, yeesh. It wouldn't start. It would kind of start, but it would just be like a line. And now this is what it looks like. When he starts it up, how's that new polarizer and stuff on it look? I mean, yeah, it's got a little wear and tear on it, but it is okay. Is that necessary, dude? Okay, that was weird, right? Like, we all agree that was weird. Why'd you do that? Holy crap, that is so much brighter now. Wow. That is impressive how much that improved. Wow. That's cool. Okay. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And then how to basic move. Yeah, no, I felt like, uh-oh, are we about to get how to basic? Point being, he's just gonna nostalgia bait, you know. Y'all didn't keep your cartridges in your socks for safekeeping? No, Dan, can't say I ever did that. The beauty of cartridges versus CDs was that cartridges held up to a lot more abuse. If they fell out of something, if they went somewhere, like, it felt like something that was workable. And if all else fails, you know, you just blow on it and you're good to go. With a CD, if it gets scratched or cracked or snapped in half, that's it. It's game over, chump. That's all you get. Did you spot the gag in the Pokemon names? Oh. Go share. Oh no. Nice. Nice. Oh boy. Okay, so that is interesting. I enjoy what this channel has to offer. Clearly, nearly 8 million other people did too. Holy cow, this has been viewed a lot 2 years ago. Okay, fascinating. Well, on that note, I feel like I have time for one more video before I close out the evening today. Then I'm probably going to go play some games with Anthony, I think. But if we were to watch just one more thing, what should we watch? We've got a few options. We did that one already. Yeah, you know what? Okay, so that's Barn Find Hunter. That's just finding some cool cars. So you know what? Let's round out this evening. Let's go ahead and just watch some cool cars. Just for fun. Barn Find Hunting, that kind of thing. Y'all just chat. We'll have some fun. And yeah, I think I'll close this out probably around 9-ish my time. I checked this video description. It had some tools, but no stripper. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was wondering. But yeah, that was an interesting tool. If I ever find one like that, I'll definitely buy it, but I just haven't seen one quite like that. Also, this is half an hour long, so I probably won't watch the whole thing, but I'll watch probably the next 15 minutes worth at least.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, fresh air, Mabel, breathe.
1, 2, 3.
This is Valerie's first time seeing Mabel for a long, long time. How do you like it?
I want her back.
Hope you enjoyed meeting Mabel and Valerie and Bernie. Well, we're following Bernie right now to another barn that he has where he stores cars, some of which are his and some belong to a client, and most of them are interesting. So we're gonna head on this very beautiful estate. As you can see, the rain and the wind has picked up. As they predicted, this is a severe storm weekend, so we're trying to battle through it. We tried to get the outdoor cars taken care of yesterday, and now we're working on the indoor cars. So we're inside, going inside now, unit number 3, which is one of Bernie's barns. So let's see what you got in here, old man.
This guy definitely looks like a Bernie.
I've left the wrong keys behind. Only joking.
And he's a character. All right, good start.
Look at this high tech. Unbelievable, isn't it? I'll just put the light on for you. Welcome.
Hold up.
Oh, this is
I love
a
that
beauty.
purple. That's actually a
Oh,
really rare
man.
color on those.
Is this an M5?
Touring.
M5
Oh
wagon.
shit! So it's a
man.
yeah,
The,
like
the
in
lights
the,
will come on, but they take a bit of time.
I don't know. When I saw BMW M5 wagon like touring in the description, I didn't think it was going to be this generation. This is my favorite Generation 5 series. I think these look the best. Now, everybody likes the E39s, but to me, the E34 is the best looking one.
So this is an. All right, you know I'm a wagon guy, and I'm also happen to be a BMW guy. This is like the cat's meow. I don't think it was ever available in the States, but it's a BMW 5 Series M5 wagon with a 5-speed. Oh man.
This is
It's all
what they
the
call an
fives.
individual. So this is the third one off the line of production. That's at the end for this series. And basically, you can't buy these cars. They never come on the market. People who own these cars never want to sell them. So we've been looking for about 5-6 years. This belongs to a client of mine. It's not my car. He said, go and get it. So I looked at the car, and it's a very
But no, that is like on my bucket list too. Is an E34 M5, but a touring version. Oof, I would love that so much. Okay, looks like this one. Ah, that looks right. Yeah, okay. So you can see for a wire stripper, it actually goes in the front. Yeah, it goes in the front. So it's different than other wire strippers where you have to like clamp it from the side. Instead, this is that way. Small difference, but to me, makes all the difference. I think it looks like it would function better than other ones. At least it looks like it would be a good way to avoid. Okay, wow. I'm going to add that to my wish list for later. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, all right. I'm going to keep that open because I actually like that. Thank you much for finding that. Well, let's continue. Can also be used for protectories. Dane's Deflated Pool. If you need this tool to give a vasectomy, well, whoever's having it done on them is definitely, well, they got other problems, possibly in the micro, possibly nano variety.
Aubergine?
Aubergine.
Aubergine.
You bleeding aubergine.
Strippers to wish list for life. That is a way you could phrase that, yes.
Aubergine, not aubergine. Anyway, so this car is just a nice old car. It's done 100,000 miles. It's been well looked after. It's probably
Miles
had a bit
don't
of
scare
paint
me.
here
I don't
and
care
there.
about that. I just want that car.
Rare car. And these are the cars that guys in their 40s are now dying to get because it's their era. Everybody has their era. So, nice car.
I'm in my 30s and I want
So we've
that.
got various cars in this building. This is a 72
C3
Corvette. This car here I own. I bought it during the summer.
Vasectomy for ants.
It didn't have a screen in it or window or pillars, didn't have a roof on it. It had a hideous roll
Yeah,
bar.
100K on a car that old? Not bad at
But
all.
it's got factory wide arches on it. And it's just an ordinary club racing car.
That's sick.
Which is for sale. So
Small block?
Small block, 4-speed, posi traction rear axle. It's got the wide arches on the back with the big wheels. It's got Hoosier tyres on it. And this type of car in England, I would expect to sell for about $30,000, which isn't a bad price.
No. It's
But
ready
where'd
to
you
race?
get them?
It's ready
It's
to
totally
race.
fine, actually.
It's pretty much ready to race. It doesn't need an exhaust.
See, that's the good of the third generation Corvettes, the C3s, because it's got the flying buttresses. Those are the good ones. The flat window with the flying buttresses. As soon as you get to the bubble window ones, where it's the big glass and the hatch, like I am a fan of hatchbacks, but this is a rare occasion where I actually prefer the non-hatchback version of the Vet. This generation of C3 was just significantly better looking to me than the later versions of the C3.
Exhaust system on it and a few bits and pieces. But what I do
finish
is I
on
say
that
to
could use
guys,
some work,
take
though.
it as it is for one price, or I'll fix it
Dates
and
it,
finish it off for
but-
another price.
Yeah, that's
How
what we're sticking
plentiful
to
are
here.
Corvettes?
They're not that many over in England. The problem is everybody's got this thing about they're going to cost a lot of money to keep going, but actually, real simple car.
Yeah.
I mean, how many millions and millions of engines have they built for these things?
Are these revered like a Ferrari would be?
No,
No.
no. People who buy Ferraris, I don't know why they do it. They're like hairdressing cars, aren't they? They're like for guys who in their 50s and 60s, they've got nothing better to do and they buy a Ferrari because they want to have the... It's the thing, isn't it? The badge. Yeah. We got a Ferrari here. They're actually
I was going to say,
bits of
there's
shit.
definitely a Ferrari under
If
that.
you've ever worked on a Ferrari, they're stuck together. They're hopeless. But it is what it is.
Now that Healy, has that seen the road
nice
anytime
Healy.
lately?
Probably not for about 7 years.
Uh-huh.
So that's a Healy 3000. Left-hand drive
They
again.
make a good sound.
Bought the car, funny story with this one, because I went to see it in auction about 8-9 years ago, and we bought about 2-3 cars, and we were going to buy this car, but I bid up to about £42,000 at the time on it, but we didn't buy it, and it didn't sell. So when I went back on the Monday, and we took the other cars away, the guy goes to me, Bernie, you know, I know you had interest, your last bidder. He said, you bid 42,000, do you want to buy it? The guy doesn't want to take it home, back to Europe. I said, yeah, okay. He said, what will you pay for it? I said, 34,000. He said, hold on a second, you bid over 40,000 for it on Saturday. I said, yeah, but that was Saturday. Today's Monday. Anyway, we did a deal, and I think we paid 37,000 for it or something. So that's the car.
Pretty good car?
Yeah, it's a nice car, drives nicely. We have spent a bit of money on it, but it's just a nice old car.
Yep.
You can hear that
but not-
rain
it's been
going
sitting here for
outside
8 or
like
9
crazy here. In the
Yeah, I've just got to
audio.
change the covers off because I've done a little bit of work to it.
Mm-hmm.
This car here, this is quite a fascinating car. So this car here is a 1931 gold-plated or
Good
gold
Lord.
leaf Cadillac that belonged to one of your guys called Liberace. So don't ask me why I bought it. I saw it and I thought, you know what, I've got to own this car. So I bought it, and it's really a one-off. It's a rare, rare car. It's a 31 Cadillac V8, not a V16. And I'm going to ship this back to the States. I won't be able to sell it here.
So gold leaf
Yeah.
is actually gold. It's like gold that's cut into foil thickness and glued on to signs, ornaments, things like that. Well,
Honestly,
this
it's in
this
impressive
car has been gold
condition
leaf, and you can
for
see
the
the
age.
square
The little square leaves.
little squares. That's how big the pads are, and they must have cleared over it then.
They've lacquered over the whole thing.
Gee, this was Liberace's car. All right, so what would you ask for something like this? You have any idea? Or...
If I got $75,000 for it in the States, I'd be happy. It
I
actually
think you
was
could
built
manage
by
that.
a billionaire
That seems reasonable.
back in the 70s. Now, by the way, this is what they call the missing Cadillac, because it was built by a billionaire somewhere in America. I can't remember his name. And it was an immaculate. And what he used to do was he had it built, a glass garage built round it. And every time he took it out, he used to have the guys come along, take the glass off so we could drive it out, come back when it was finished and put it back. He sold it to a German museum where it languished for about 20 odd years and then completely disappeared. And then I couldn't resist, I had to buy it. Don't know, I must have been on drugs at the time, I suppose, but I had to buy it. You know the way sometimes you see something you think, I got to own that? Well, no, I wish I didn't buy it and I want to sell it.
So these lights turn with the front wheels.
Yeah, they're stuck at the moment, but when you turn the steering wheel, it's all connected via a rod to the steering box, to the pitman arm, and it turns with it.
Wow,
there we
that
go.
is cool. One day I'd
So,
like to own an
you
older
call
car,
it-
probably
it's a
something
rumble
like a
seat.
It's a
first-gen
rumble seat.
Mustang,
That's
preferably
exact-
one
Well,
that I
you
don't
know-
have to worry about replacing original fasteners. Oh, yeah. Things that are old enough to not have to have plastic doodads.
I like Model A's, Model B's, 33s,
Yep.
34s, they all had
What if you buy an old Ford or a Chevy, especially something as common as a Mustang, especially a first-generation Mustang? There's reproduction parts out the wazoo for those things. You'll have no trouble keeping that thing running if you want to. As far as like old cars go, you have way better luck finding parts for that Mustang than I ever did for my 60 Thunderbird. I mean, you find a 64.5, 65 Mustang, it's easy. They're not even that expensive because there were so freaking many of those things made. Like Volkswagen Beetles, but over here it's even easier to find parts for.
rumble seats.
So it's got 3 steps here. Interesting. If you want to go inside here, which I won't, but
You know you can go in if you like.
step, 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 and in.
And in, yeah. I think in this day, these Cadillacs, you had to have a few dollars to buy something like this. It's not a cheap man's car. And this is all white leather interior, and the door handles have been.
Well, that, and I want one that I can modify a little bit. People get nitpicky about when someone replaces a bolt instead of replating it. Yeah, so the thing about that, Dan, is when it comes to those, Mustangs, they're so freaking many, nobody should be able to get mad at you for actually messing around and replacing parts and making it different. There's nothing wrong with that. They made way too many for that to be an issue. If somebody's mad about it, they can just go buy their own.
Plated in gold leaf. And it's got a mink carpet.
Something not numbers matching or something. That goes for like other muscle cars or others where, there's way fewer on the road. But in the case of the Mustang, I mean, it's such a common car. As far as classics go, I doubt there's any classic from the muscle car era, the pony car era, that sold more copies than friggin' Mustang did.
It's a mink rug. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, you can get certain 60s Mustangs for under 10K. Yoshi's right.
We don't know.
They may not be in perfect shape.
If you go on the internet,
oh my God! I'm just now looking at the floor of that. What the hell?
Just check it out. They call it the Liberace Cadillac. Did he own it?
That looks like a Liberace thing
They're
for
saying
sure.
it was his. He evidently had loads of cars.
Right. But this looks like it would be his.
Well, yeah. You'd have to be a very flamboyant person to want to own something like this.
And that's why you own it.
Exactly. I fell in love with it. I thought, where the hell am I going to see another one?
Can you show us the engine on this?
Yeah. I think we can open it up here.
I mean, just think, what year is this? 31?
31.
This is when Ford was making Model A's, little, anemic four-cylinder flatheads. And look at, if you had a little bit of money, what you could buy. Whoa, jeez.
So this is the original side-down V8s. So this is actually the slightly cheaper version because the bigger engines were the V12s. But it runs and drives and everything.
Have you driven
the way
it
the metal
much?
just like
I've driven it
folds
from
over
the
on
storage unit
itself?
across the road to this storage
I
unit.
understand that's the way they're
Unfortunately, it's
supposed
got no
to go,
power
but it always
steering,
looks so flimsy.
which is a bit of a bastard, really, because it's quite heavy. But, it's an iconic car.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at the hood ornaments, man. So what else you got here? Anything good?
This is quite a nice car.
So you have an orgasming mermaid.
You know what
Pantera
this
for
is?
your hood
Ah,
ornament.
Maserati Merak.
Ooh, a Merak, yeah.
What's nice about this car is, it's a Maserati, hand-built car. Particularly like the colour, and I love the interior.
You're right, Yoshi. He said V16 earlier, and then he said V12. The reality was Cadillac actually did make a V16 back in the day, like way, way back in the day. Those were incredibly limited, small production number vehicles, but they did make a V12 and a V16 way, way back then. That was a real thing.
I've never seen it.
But I know you're pointing out that he just got screwy with his phrasing. I think he was misremembering, but he's technically correct. They did make those. I just don't know about that particular model getting it. But yeah, so if you go V16, 1930s, because you don't want to get it mixed up with the 16 Concept, which is a more recent car. But yeah, there you go. For example. The thing is, these cars are all coach built back in the day, so you're not going to find, you're not going to find two that are identical, because they're all cases where you would have a car made, the chassis and the underpinnings would be made by Cadillac, GM, whatever, and then you would have somebody coach build a body on top of it. At least that's oftentimes the move back then. Yeah, fascinating stuff, but that is beautiful. Tastes differ, but for a car of that type, I mean, it's that and Duesenbergs and things like that. I spotted one an hour away with a 351 and a GT500 front bumper. Interesting. 10K, claims under 100,000 miles, but I'm doubtful. Interesting. Anyway, back to the video.
An interior like this on a Maserati.
I love the plaid.
Well, that's
on the
typical
interior.
sort of
That's
70s. If you look at sort of Datsun 280Zs and other English cars, they went through this sort of Scottish tartan thing. I love it because
it's awesome.
It's so different.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
These cars.
Yeah, minus the
about
flies.
Buying these type of cars is that I suppose if you don't pay too much for them to start with, they're not going to make any more. So they're only going to go up in value, and yeah, they hit a bit of a low, then they go up, and they go down, you know, it is what it is, but better than having money and sitting in the bank, really, isn't it? So, what we have here...
Jeez.
Hey, there's your Mustang.
So, this is a K-Code Mustang.
K-Code.
K-Code.
Now, K-Code means that it came with a Hypo 289 engine, which would have been 271 horsepower. It had stiffer valve springs, different heads, high zinc block. It had a 4-barrel, of course. So it was the most high-performance Hypo 289 you could buy from the factory. Yeah, can we see the engine on there?
The weirdest thing now is you can get
Before they
nearly
proceeded
500
to make,
horsepower out of these
302s
engines.
and 351s and all that. But if you have a
Just a
K-Code
nice
with the
old
original
car.
engine,
So
that's
the way you
actually
can
worth
tell
something.
it's a factory K-Code car is the 5th digit after the star is a star 6T09K. So if that's a K, that means it was a Hypo 289, which means it had the logos on the front fender. You know, the valve cover said Hypo 289, 271 horsepower. So this is a fastback.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Is it fast? I mean, there are a lot of coupes in Europe, but fastback is kind of unusual.
The fastback is a much more desired car than a coupe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A coupe in England is $20,000 to $30,000. A fastback would be $35,000 to $45,000, and a K-Code obviously would be that much more. It's my favourite. I don't go for value. I couldn't care less what a car is worth. I just love it to death. And I'm a Chevy man. I'm as far as I'm concerned, Ford. But you know, there are certain models I really like, and this is one of them.
They make good noises. The exhaust noise out of a 289 is terrific.
Oh, super. They're just really nice cars. I just don't think you American guys understand or realise what you all went through in that muscle car era. It was fantastic. Honda NSX. Fabulous. Designed by an Ayrton
Oh,
Senna.
hey, NSX out of nowhere.
Just a super nice car. This is manual, not an auto.
And it appears, is it a Targa? I'm looking for the line break. I think that's a reflection.
We spent 5
Might be
years
a
looking
hard
for a
top.
car like this. This is a low mileage car. Just a nice car, but boy, one of the best.
Dan, even if it has a 302 and not a 351, that's still fine. Depending. Oh, but it's an auto.
Cars you'll ever
Not as
drive of
fun.
its era.
So this is an Acura, and actually I've spent a little bit of time behind the wheel, very little time behind the wheel of one of these, but it was an exotic car that was almost too good. Like whereas a Ferrari, they're a little bit finicky, might break down once in a while. This car is ideal. It's almost too perfect. And the criticism it got from the magazines, which is crazy, is that it's too good to be an exotic car. It started all the time, the heat worked, the air conditioning worked. It's a great car. So here's one of my favorite cars. Happens to be under recovery with Krager rims.
Oh, Cougar.
Oh,
All
my
right.
God.
Here's a Cougar.
68, 67?
I'm not sure. 67, 68. 3-speed
My dad had a
manual.
green one of
This
these
was like
in
a
high school.
luxury
He absolutely
Mustang.
loved it.
Oh, is that the same platform, isn't it? Same floor plan.
Yeah. But it was like a step up.
Yeah.
They had special editions, the Dan Gurney edition,
Yeah.
XR7. GTE had a 427 side oiler,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. That's a nice car, wow. All right, sir. We're hitting the road, thank you.
Hit the road. Okay, cool.
I was going to say, the 302 produces good torque, and they sound fantastic. I knew he was driving a Jag. I just hadn't seen the exterior of it yet, but I saw the interior. I was like, that is a definite late 80s era, early 90s Jag. And sure enough, there it is.
Bernie is one interesting character, I think you'll admit. So, saw what he has in the barn. We're gonna go to his house. He's got a few more cars. He's got his racing Corvette there, one of his racing Corvettes.
Ooh. Like what I'm seeing with the 964 Porsche outside already.
Good. This is how I know Bernie from the States, is running a black Corvette like this. So what year is this car?
This is my original car. It's a 1958 Corvette.
And what do you have in the States?
59 Corvette.
Okay, all right. So he's got two virtually identical cars, very well driven, very well prepared. This one you run in the States?
No.
I mean, this one you run over here?
This has been to Sebring and Daytona many, many years ago. But we basically, my boys race it, I don't race it.
I got it.
So back in, well, it was obviously in 1958, it was a street car. So in the late 70s, when I was going to America, I was looking for a race car. I wanted a Corvette, but I wanted to build the car. So I was buying cars, bringing them back, all C1s, and every car I bought back, I go, that's too good to race. I can make some money out of that. So I never raced it. So about a year later, a friend of mine rings me up.
You just need to find one that's a little bit shitty, but like shitty in the right ways, ways that won't affect its ability to perform, but maybe its ability to sell. That is when you have a good track car.
In Essex, and he goes, I've just got this Corvette in. It used to race in Florida in the 70s with a big block, supercharged big block, Dyna rear end.
Jeez.
Oh, drag car.
Drag car.
Yeah.
Huge wheels and tyres. Anyway, he said, do you want to buy it? I said, well, how much do you want for it? He goes, $4,000. I go, I can't pay you $4,000. So we did a deal. I got the car minus the engine and gearbox, and then spent about 9 months building it into a circuit racer on drum brakes.
And this is the car.
On drum
This is the
brakes.
same
Oh
car.
shit.
So how long?
Well,
you've
some
had
of
this-
it now.
You've had this since the
Four,
70s?
no, we've probably had it about 38 years, something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man.
It's quite a famous car in as much that it's basically a piece of shit, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. But you know what? It's our family car.
Yeah.
It surprised everybody when it came out because the only way to race early Corvettes is to dirt track style race them. So you go hell for leather down the straight, get to the corner, forget the brakes because you haven't got any. Just turn in, back on the throttle. Everybody
Drift
backs
your
off
way
because
through.
they all think you're going to have a massive accident.
And this has got drum brakes.
Not now, it hasn't. We learned a lesson long
I
time
think that
ago.
guy just described
No,
Levi's
it
launch.
runs disc brakes all round, coilovers. You can see here it runs
Oh, yeah.
9-inch forward back axle, watch linkage. This has about 465 horsepower. It's a budget built car.
Yep, yep.
It has two trademarks that I have on my cars. One is I like using drag racing, big block Chevy.
As a tow hook?
As a tow hook. And the other one, you might see a bit later, I've got a skull's head inside. But this car, most of it's original, except from here back and the front. We've had one or two altercations, as we say,
Got
with
it.
guardrails and things. So, anyway. But
Cool.
you know what? It's a great car. Love it to bits.
So you have another garage here.
Yeah, let's go. Sorry about the weather, but you are in England.
You're
The Hot Rodders.
So what do we have here?
Okay, this is really quite an
yes.
interesting car, this.
Show me the Mazda
is,
Cosmo. Yes.
Ah, Mazda Cosmo.
Such a
Oh,
beauty.
you know what it is?
I love these things.
So this car here, I only bought it recently.
And the old Mazda logos are kind of designed to look like the rotary. It's so cool. Like all this old stuff from the 60s and 70s is so cool.
These Mazdas obviously made in Japan, all made right-hand drive, and it was like late 60s. And what they did, they nicked, or as you don't use the word nick, thieved, all the ideas from other European cars. So the headlights, for instance, they're Perspex headlights, but they've got louvers in the front. Don't get any condensation. The back end looks a bit like a T-Bird, like a 56, 57 T-Bird. They've used like the very sporty mirrors.
What year is it?
I think this one's 70.
Wow, look at that.
They were like,
Now this is restored.
pretty sure they started making them back in
here's
like
the funny
68 or
thing is,
69.
This
though.
was a good car
What a
that went
beautiful
from
cover,
Japan
though.
to Russia of all places. I can't fathom it out. And they restored it. I've got all the rotisserie documentation on it. It's just a fabulous car.
This was restored in Russia.
In Russia. Then went from Russia to Paris, France. I went along, I looked at it, I go, I got to own that. That's got to
Well,
be
I mean,
bought.
you look at it, if you're into
So it says
stylish
here
cars,
estimated
God, they're
75
stylish, yes.
to 95,000.
But the way the hardtop sits on them always made it look to me like it was a convertible. Like I thought, oh, you can pull the top off. It's just removable hardtop, but apparently not.
Pounds.
Euros. I think that's
But it'd
euros.
make for a good little
Euros,
roadster
okay.
for
So
sure.
How did you do with it?
I ended up paying more money for it, and then we had to pay duty to get it in from Russia to. It probably owes about $110,000.
Oof.
But a cheap car. They're 160, 170. In this condition, maybe 200,000.
I'm impressed. I mean, the paintwork, the
Jeez.
detail.
It's a nice car.
Yeah, and it runs well?
Yeah, we started up, we ran it. I haven't run it for about 4 or 5 months.
It's impossible to
We
restore
start
and
them
brush.
up
Have the
about
car
every
be a
3
lot of.
months, especially with
Apparently,
these
they
rotary
actually spent
engines.
money on this one.
Because I think the oil drains
Pretty-
away.
pretty
It's something
penny
to
at
do
that.
With the cylinders. You know, it's not like a normal piston engine. So.
Oh
I
shit,
love
he's
this
got an
car.
Aston
I
back
love
there.
The shape. I love the typical American design on it.
Yeah.
And this is a car that your guys who are in their 40s and 50s would buy because they remember these cars.
Yeah.
Even though it's a rare old car.
Jay Leno's got one of these.
Yeah. Well, he's got one of everything, hasn't he? He's a greedy bugger.
Oh yeah, look at this tail light. It looks like a
take-
1960 Ford.
Just
is that a
things-
steel car?
Yeah. Just things, the interior.
They're such pretty
typical
cars,
sort of
though.
60s racing type interior.
Love that.
Just the detail on it is really nice.
Very limited production. 343 examples were built between 67 and 68.
Ah,
so in the Haggerty Value Guide, it says here that for this car in the worst condition that they have listed, number 4 condition, which is fair, 58 grand, American dollars. In good condition, number 3 is 71,000. Excellent condition is number 2, 98 grand, and in concourse condition, $138,000.
Yeah. I think we've done well.
Do you think this is a concourse?
Well, if it got cleaned up by a professional, yeah, I think it pretty much is because it's as nice underneath as it is on top.
Yeah.
The gaps and everything are actually better than they probably came out of the factory. I would think so, but not in this environment. Maybe at Greenwich or something, you know, it would do.
Nice car.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got in here?
This car's quite interesting.
Okay.
This is, I actually built this about 10, 12 years ago. It's the last proper restoration I actually did.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know if you recognise it at all.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm excited about that.
And you were
Gotta love those old things.
Yeah. I didn't paint it, but I pretty much did everything else.
Nice
this
Aston DB out there.
is your James Bond Aston Martin DB5. So, another story behind this one. So this is the original colour that they built these cars in. They built them in about 5 or 6 colours. Built as a race car, but more as a sort of gentleman's race car. These used to be $20,000 30 years. Nobody wanted them.
Yeah. What do you think they're going for now?
They've dropped in value to about £750,000, about $1 million.
Yeah, you know,
That's what
just
this is worth?
minor.
Well,
minor.
here's the thing. We decided that when we bought this car, we would leave the roll cage in. We'd buy a new pair of leather bucket seats. We had the engine. I don't know if we're going to have a look at this. This is something else.
Look at that beauty.
A bit dirty, but there you go.
Wow. That's a big
That's a big
six-cylinder.
engine, yeah.
How big are those cylinders? They're huge.
I don't know. I can't remember how many litres it is. 4.3 or something like that on Weber's. A lot of this stuff is original. Stainless steel exhaust.
That's gorgeous.
But it all came with it. We paid a fair amount of money for it, but nothing like what it's worth.
How long have you had it?
Probably about 10 years, 12 years.
What a beauty. What
Yeah.
a neat car to drive. Wow.
And all the bodywork is all handmade. So we had...
steel?
No, all aluminium. Do you say aluminium?
Aluminum.
No, we say aluminium. You say it wrong. What do you say, aluminum?
I think we invented it, didn't we? Did America invent that?
You invented Coca-Cola, that's about it. Anyway, so we had a
like
hell of a
this
time
guy.
doing the bodywork, and I gave it to a friend of mine who does concours work. And they're charging to paint this, to do the bodywork and paint this car, 40,000, 50,000, ridiculous.
I believe
amounts of money.
that.
But this is all glued. It's not welded. So it's all glued together, and they're all hand formed. So
What a beauty.
it's got wider arches on the back. So these have all been flared, the arches. And I've had a Barani type wire wheel made for them, slightly wider.
Those
I was going to say, those
alloy?
wheels look slightly
stainless steel.
non-original.
Even you Yanks kept the stainless steel as stainless steel and didn't do anything with that word, did you? But anyway, it's a great car, this. It's probably only done 600-700 miles since it was built. It's been on the track
Dan, I'm not saying that's why I like it, but damn it, you're onto something there. I mean, he definitely owns the kind of cars that I would like to own. Just, you know, he's got taste. Even if he makes fun of himself for it, he's got taste. He knows, basically, if you were to like find me in my estate sale after I pass away, you might find a garage something like this. If left to my own devices and nobody stops me, I'd probably own cars like this if I could.
Once. So what we have here is a 993 GT2.
Oh my God!
Which really
yes.
is a factory.
See, I'm not even joking. Like, he has my exact taste at this point. That's it.
Race car.
Yep.
This car's
993,
been down
911.
around Daytona.
Yep. And a GT
about 15
nonetheless.
years
That
ago,
is. Oof.
At approximately 183 miles an hour on the banking. This actually
Crazy.
is a very rare car.
No kidding. Yeah, I know how rare those are. Incredibly rare.
I think last year or the year before for £1.7 million.
See, that's my problem. I don't like the cars because they're expensive. I like them because amongst their peers, they are unique and rare examples of otherwise interesting cars to begin with, but they're like very hard to find examples, and then they end up being expensive. I don't mean for that to be the case, but I have very expensive taste just because my sense of style is such that, I don't know, man.
I don't think they made that many of them. And Porsche actually used this car. They take it to Goodwood for the revival meeting. We let them take it. You know, what the hell?
Yeah, cool.
You know, people need to see
Well, you're
these
not gonna
things.
say
In a
no
way,
to
it's a
Porsche.
shame that they sit here, but they do get used.
And this looks, I mean, if I was figuring out what this is, it looks like another Porsche.
Yeah.
You know, this is a barn find show. Couldn't you have rusty cars here instead?
Well, they're dirty. That's about as near to it. So this is
7th gen Celicas
we
have
bought this
blown
car
up in
about
price
7 or
yet.
8
You're so
years
grateful.
ago.
Yeah, no.
This is a
Their
Japanese
time will
import.
come. Maybe,
Um,
eventually.
This is a 964 RS, and it's
an
been
RS.
mucked about with, so it's got different wheels on it.
Damn it, this guy does have super great taste. Just
Suspension's
across
different.
the board.
This is one of the Porsches are just great cars. You know, I like Porsches from the sort of mid to late 70s up when they put a G50 box in it. It just transforms the car. You know, they're just great cars. The Germans have a real good idea how to make cars.
Thanks.
And then they take it too far. They overcomplicate it, and they become super depreciated, wind up on buy here, pay here lots. Come to my TED Talk. Okay, so that pretty much rounds us out here for this evening. I think we've done the bit we're gonna do. So thank you so much for watching. I've appreciated you. I hope you appreciated watching this stream. If you're new here, consider following, consider subscribing, and for the rest of you, hey, thanks for showing up. I had fun. I plan on doing a little more streaming throughout the week, kind of keeping things a little more lively. I've been missing in action for the last few weeks because, well, you know, work. But yeah, no, I plan on doing this more, hanging around. So I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Beat Saber when? I don't have a console that can play Beat Saber, but that is definitely on the list of ideas. So, any rate, if I find a way to do that, I'll let you know. Yeah, that's it. So if you guys could please like, share, all that stuff, which is not a thing here on Twitch, but if I had a video where you're watching this sometime in the future on my YouTube channels, perhaps you would see something there. That's really it, guys. So yeah, I will see you later. Y'all take care. Have a good night. Peace.
Reaping what I sow, and I've been writing on the walls, seeing at my reflection, gotta say I feel apart. I've been getting bigger every day, I'm feeling smaller. It's a cold, cold world that we live in. Ice caps melt, feeling frigid. Hoping I can make it when I'm making 7 digits. I'ma give it all back to my family, give it to my girl. Never work another day, we traveling the world. Now I'm grinning, got my teeth out. Sunshine bouncing off your hair, got the weed out. It's been a minute since I felt like this. That little feeling in your chest, we call that bliss. Moments like these, when you blink, then you miss. I'ma make it last forever, never call it quits. Cause it just keeps going, and it's never gonna stop. We gon' keep it rolling like the ball. No, we ain't falling off and off. And I've been off and on a bottle like I'm Molotov. Blowing like the bomb, call the squad, they gon' call it off. Making beats and pound it in your head like a Tylenol. Genius in my pocket, when I make it, I'ma show it off. When the world knows my name, don't you get it wrong. I've been waiting long, and now it's paying off. When I hustle, I'ma hustle, so don't write me off. When I'm winning, got my teeth out. Spotlights bouncing off the stage, get your weed out. It's been a minute since we felt like this. That little feeling in your head, we call that bliss. Moments like these, when you blink, then you miss. I'ma make it last forever, never call it quits. I promise I'ma keep it going, and it's never gonna stop.
What's up? I'ma keep it going. With the top down and I got the wind in my hair. I'm so blessed, people ask if I can say I'm a prayer. Steady cruising with my life, man, I don't need to repair. Give a fuck about opinions, cause I like what I wear. I just say fuck it, this life I live I'm loving. Got hooked up on the drugs, now I drop them like it's nothing. I came from crushing crumbs, now I'm naturally buzzing. So don't you write me off as if I'm never good for nothing. I'm never bluffing, my neck is studded. I'm taking my time, all in my rhymes like it's nothing. It's no discussion, know my name before I kick the bucket. I'm coming at the fucking grave, making waves like a hurricane. I don't want to taste, I want the butter. The salt, pepper sprinkled on a steak, I bring the flame. I don't want the fame, I just want the love without the struggle. The change without the fun, the pain that comes from living in this game ain't no trouble. I'ma keep it going, see my name live forever.
It's getting better, but I'm worried that I'm using up my lifetime.
What if we ain't even living at the right time?
If I'm looking, then I'm worried what I might find.
I don't look behind me, yes, they're walking in a straight line.
I don't wanna hurt another, heard it in the grapevine.
Brother from another mother, rocking with the same vibe.
Sunshine dancing off your hair, got the weed out. It's been a minute since I felt like this. That little feeling in your chest, we call that bliss. Moments like these, when you blink and you miss. I'ma make it last forever, never call it quits. Cause it just keeps going, and it's never gonna stop. We gon' keep it rolling.
Extendo clip, super thick like Paul Blart. Bougie ass bitch, got a manicure at Walmart. Tryna